Okay, this thing on. Can you hear me?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Oh, you know it.
Oh.
Let's go. Back in the studio. What's up, Pete?
Better than ever, as always. I mean, I feel like saying better than ever every single time loses its luster or its meaning. But I mean, I truly mean it. Every time we get in here, it's more fun than the last time. So glad to be back in. Again, another long delay. This whole like life and being busy with work. Like, what if we just stopped working and just ran all the time and podcasted like 3 times a week?
I'm down for that, man. You know how I feel. I'm running every day. This work stuff is getting in the way, but that's okay. You know, we drop some episodes every month, and we're getting some good feedback, and it just feels like what we're doing is worthwhile, and it's really fun to get in the studio, and it's meaningful and impactful for us, and we're trying to give the people what they want, you know?
We are, and I know since we've tried this new dropping in people's voices, talking about their own races instead of us kind of interpreting the experience for them, a lot of positive feedback. I think a lot of people like hearing the more authentic stories. Not that we're not authentic in the way that we're presenting it, but like that first person perspective is so much more powerful and accurate, right? Like we're like looking at what people have done and maybe asking them some questions and like telling the story through the grapevine. And it's really cool to give more people an opportunity to share for themselves.
Yeah, it's such an amazing, inspiring community. And so when we can shine the spotlight on what everybody's doing, it allows for, I don't know, the Chico running community to have a megaphone through the podcast.
Yes.
And that's cool. Like, I think
really
we're onto
cool.
something, yeah. Speaking of which, there's a lot going on.
Always.
Even like every weekend, it feels like.
always something going on.
I mean, right now, as we're speaking, the one and only Todd Ziegenmeyer is running through the Tahoe wilderness, a casual 200 miler. No big deal.
No big deal. Just a casual 200 miles this weekend. Best of luck to him. You guys have been training really hard for the last few months. And, you know, we get to see him all the time on runs. Or I ran into him last Saturday at Farmer's Market and had a nice chat. And he's just, you know, so much like Logan, just such a nice guy that's ready to talk about what he's doing, super supportive of everybody else. So I'm sure he already knows it, and he can't hear this right now, but we are all, as a collective Chico running community, sending all the good vibes. He's got such a great crew up there, backing him up, pacing him. Joey, Pete the Form, Frank's going up there to offer some support as well. So pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Joey's great. That's hilarious that Joey's up there. Let's go, Joey. Hopefully you can get in, you know, at least a half marathon of distance. I know he was a little worried about that, but he's got it. Matt Henderson's
Oh, that's right.
also.
Matt's up there too.
I just saw a clip of Healdsburg Running Company shared on their social media on Instagram of the start of the race. Lots of people running it at the start, and there you see Todd kind of towering above everyone else. He's got that height, and so he's on that clip with a big grin as he gets going on his journey. You've ran through some of that area, I imagine.
I have, up by Marlette Lake and over around Incline Village and near Tahoe City, where some of that race goes, and it's just so beautiful.
Sweet.
And like trail running in Tahoe is incredible for a lot of reasons. It's very similar to trail running in Chico, but it's also very different. Obviously, when you get up in the altitude, that's another variable that we don't have a lot of familiarity with. When you're running up at 6,000 feet, Joey had a funny post on his run yesterday up there, like, the air's thin up here. Like, yes, it is. And the trails are just a little bit different too, you know, especially when we think about like North Rim Trail and Guardians Trail. It's so treacherous and rocky in a lot of spots. And there are definitely areas like that in Tahoe, but there's also more dust up there. I know that was one of the things that Todd had expressed some, not concern, but like, this is something I'm going to have to deal with, is how dusty it gets. He's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. Best of luck to him. Going to be crushing it.
Logan Slack is also crewing. That's another guy
who's
going to help with him.
Man, he has got,
that guy's a demon.
He's got a solid crew of pacers up there.
Real. I hope the weather's nice. It's a little hot right now for Tahoe.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that factors in.
I'm sure he's looking forward to sundown and running all night.
Yeah, the difference too, right? Like in the daytime, it's getting up there in degrees, and then night it drops and it gets cool fast.
Yeah.
So the contrast is going to be kind of interesting.
Very sharp. We were just up there a couple weeks ago, and, you know, this was, again, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but at night it got down to high 30s, low 40s.
Yeah.
So that will probably be a nice reprieve from the sunshine, because that sun hits different when you're up at 7 or 8 or 9,000 feet. So, but Todd's going to do his thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. The other Ziegenmeyer here in our area, Logan, is obviously getting ready for a huge milestone as well. He would probably be up there crewing right now, but excited for Logan and Callie as they're getting ready to welcome their first baby. So that's pretty incredible for them as well as the BRC family. I know, a lot of support for Logan. So looking forward to this big moment for them.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Baby Ziegenmeyer will probably be out there throwing down 50Ks in about 8 to 9 months, and embarrassing us all with her natural abilities. So very cool. Congratulations. Before it all comes to light, and lots more congratulations to come.
Yeah, there was a cool Wednesday night run where they hooked up the Ziegenmeyers with the little onesie for the baby. I missed that one, but yeah, congrats to Logan. That's awesome. There's been some big things going on in the community, and we kind of want to jump right into it. BRC was obviously involved in this, but we had Global Running Day, a free 5K put on by Fleet Feet, and the Run Strong Scholarship Award winners were announced and got a little bit of a chance to have the spotlight shined on them, if you will. And Bidwell Run Club's a sponsor of one of them. The Chico Running Club's a sponsor of one of them. The OAT, the original A-Team, and others have been sponsoring these young, amazing athletes, and we got to see them and hear from a few of them. And just an amazing presentation. We heard from the sponsors mainly. And big Wednesday night at Fleet Feet. That's where the BRC run was that night. We had quite a crew down there. It was pretty sweet.
It was very cool. And some of you guys probably remember we had Danny DeMeo on a few months back talking about the Chico Striders program that he started up and runs here in town for youth runners. And this is kind of the full circle moment for a lot of these runners who received the scholarships from the Run Strong Foundation. So it was, really fun to see so many of these seniors from around town getting their money that they've worked hard for, wrote cool essays, shared their stories. And Danny's just doing such a great thing with the Striders program. And again, if you don't know about Chico Striders, look them up. They have a website. You can support them and just learn about what they're doing. The mission is pretty awesome and admirable.
Yeah, he did such a wonderful job speaking about each winner and sharing a little bit more about their stories and addressing the crowd. And yeah, I was loving it. And we also got a chance to catch up with Danny one-on-one to learn a little bit more about what you're referring to, the great job he's doing with the Striders, and a little bit about each scholarship winner this year. And just a huge shout out to the sponsors as well. And it was cool to see Bidwell Run Club, Chico Running Club, Mike and Logan. And but let's hear from Danny. So this is what we got. A little one-on-one with Danny DeMeo about the Run Strong Scholarship Night as part of the Global Running Day 5K at Fleet Feet.
To just kind of soak up the impact you've made with the Striders program and to see the Run Strong scholarships and the impact they're making. Pete's got some questions for you on the event. Take it away.
Yeah. So this is a couple years into the whole scholarship program. Give us a grade of how things are going so far with this program from your perspective.
By this program, I'm going to say the scholarship program.
Yes.
So Matt Garcia, he's one of our board members. He walked out and said that was the best one we've had yet, right? So the reality is every year we get a little bit better and it just grows, and that's so exciting, right? Like, it's so exciting.
I know Striders isn't about PRs, but it seems like, can we say that this event is a PR every year?
Absolutely. Love that. Yeah. Personal record.
Yes.
Or at least a personal best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well played.
Yeah. So you want to just give us like a quick one sentence about each of the recipients from this year, like your thoughts on them? I know you kind of hit it earlier, but for the people who weren't able to make it tonight.
Okay, so I was able to, we gave away 6 scholarships tonight. So
which is up from 5 last year, correct?
5. So in combination, we've given away $13,000 of scholarships over the last 4 years.
Incredible.
So that's really fun. So I had 6 individuals. So I had Justin Plummer. So Justin is going off to Butte College next year. I called him kind of my Captain America. So he does track, he does golf, he does cross country. He's an Eagle Scout. He's doing college prep classes. He's just an all-around good human being. I've got Kenton Gert. He's been with me since 2017. We kicked off this program, so really talking about being able to see kids from cradle to grave, like just being part of them, watching them grow. I kind of talked about, so he was one of our first races we did was called Beat the Coach Mile back 2017. He was 8 or 9 years old. He ran 8 minutes and 40 seconds, and I loved it this past season for the Beat the Coach Mile. He won the whole dang thing, right? So again, just watching that growth as these kids grow. And then I've got Lucia. Lucia also was a strider back in her day. I loved Lucia because she's different. She's not your competitive athlete. And I want to go out there and I want to race and try to go to college and be a college athlete. She loves to run because she loves to run. She loves to give back. She's come back. She's been a mentor for me. And again, when she mentors, she's looking for the kids that might be in the back of the pack and want to support those that need extra support. She's willing to let go of any concept of I have to be the fastest one to support the ones that really need the extra hand holding. And you really see those connections kind of be built. She's a storyteller. She's an avid reader. Anyway, so she's going off to college next year.
At Cal, that's no joke.
At Cal, right? She's a smarty pants, that's for sure. She was her team captain at Aspire. Then I got Oscar. Oscar, he's musically talented as well as he's a runner. He's kind of worked and gave back a lot for the girls on the run. And so it was really fun to talk about his story with kind of sharing. I share the scholarship applications to some of the sponsors, and one of the sponsors knew him because of his time volunteering for Girls on the Run. And so, if there's any lesson for kids out there is get out there and volunteer, you get your name out there and that goodwill will come back to you. And that's really powerful, right? Yeah. And then I got Reese Alvester. She's still in my top 10 for one of my striders on our top 10 list. But what I talked about with her was in her application, she really talked about her grandfather, and her grandfather gave her a quote, and she's kind of always lived by this quote. But the quote is, it's not about what happens to you in life, it's about what you make it. Right, and Reese has kind of dealt with some injuries, and she's found herself, as we all do as athletes, right? We're kind of pushing our bodies all the time. So she's found herself in the pool. So when she found herself in the pool and she couldn't run, guess what she did? She joined the swim team, right? I love that story, right? Because that's resilience. That's like making gold, right? Like that's so fun. And she's going off to the University of Utah. And then I've got Taylor. She's kind of our most decorated athlete here, right? She's a soccer star. She's a running star. She just competed at the state meet at a very high level. We talked about 4:49 at 10:42 in the mile and the 2 mile. She's going to Sac State. She's going to run Division I cross country and track. Keep her, I was sitting in the stands with Gary Town. And I was like, just watch this girl run. She is so strong looking. Yeah. Anyway, so keep an eye on her over the next few years because she's going to do some powerful things at Division I level. But yeah, all these kids at the end of the day, they earned it, they deserve it, and we were here tonight to support them and show them that community that supports them. So as they go on to these bigger and better things and they try these hard things, they know that they have that community behind them supporting them, and that's what we're here to do tonight.
I think this event tonight really captured the community aspect of what Striders is all about, what Fleet Feet is all about, what Bidwell Run Club is about, what Chico Running Club is about. And I think it's really great that was the emphasis that you made to each one of those individuals who won these scholarships. And the people who spoke on behalf of the groups, they all said, find your community, support your community, give back to your community. And when we had you on the podcast months ago, that was really what you emphasized, and what we walked away with was the value that Striders puts on being a good part of your community, a productive part of your community, supportive part, positive part. And it was really nice to see this all come together. So,
this is not possible without the support of our sponsors, right? At the end of the day, the sponsors, the way this is successful is Bidwell Running Club is successful, Chico Running Club is successful, Fleet Feet is successful, right? By pulling all of these running communities together into one mission, if everyone is successful, we're all successful together. So yeah, absolutely 100%. Chico Running Club, they've been with us since the very beginning. Bidwell Running Club, we reached out to this year. They're like, absolutely, we want in, right? That's a fun story. That the original A team are older individuals. They have been by my side guiding me in a lot of ways. They have a huge heart, and so that's just wonderful. And then you got the private individuals, the individuals that are just saying, yes, we want to be part of that. I got Christine Campbell, I got Tracy Hannock, I got Greg Meadows, I've got Vince Phipps, right? So if you want to get involved, reach out to us. But it is passionate. It's powerful to connect with these individuals. And we did give every sponsor like a nice photo of the kids that they're sponsoring, and they get to take that away with them. So yeah, thank you everyone.
They also got ice cream too.
And cookies and water. So, Danny, I would imagine we're going to keep seeing PBs with these events moving forward. So, congratulations. Great work with this. We feel fortunate to be able to have this conversation and to support this community. And so, thank you. Appreciate it.
For you guys, what you're doing too. Keep getting the voice out there.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do.
Well said, Pete, and congrats, Danny. Awesome.
Good work.
Love that guy. Danny's so great.
Yeah, good work indeed, Pete. That was so cool to get a lens into the scholarship winners and the Chico Striders from Danny's perspective.
Yeah, it's cool because we got to talk to him last year or a few months ago. I guess it was last year. Holy cow! About what he does in this scholarship. So to see it all play out and come together and see the awarding of those was really cool and a fun full circle moment for us, I think, and the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple things stood out to me. $13,000 in scholarships over the last 4 years.
Incredible.
That's pretty darn impressive.
Yes.
I loved the saying he had in there, if everyone is successful, we're all successful together, in reference to Bidwell Running Club, Chico Running Club, the O8T team, and just kind of this entire community.
Most definitely. And, we touched on it when we're talking to Danny, but this whole emphasis on community is so important. And, just kind of resonates with you and I both in this podcast because we want all of this to be so community oriented and lifting up everybody. So yeah, very fun.
Yeah. A PB every year. And next year it'll probably be a PB again.
That's right.
Because it's growing. One cool thing about this too is we caught up with a couple scholarship winners.
Yes.
And got to hear from them. First, let's introduce you to Kenton Gert, the son of Chico High cross country coach Kevin Gert. Kevin Gert's a big deal, y'all.
Yeah.
He's churning out some really, really talented runners, and Kenton's a part of that too. It must have been really neat for him to coach his son. We're probably going to get Kevin on the podcast in the future sometime. We got to. He's a very interesting guy, and we found out his son is a very interesting dude too. So Pete interviewed Kenton. Let's roll that sound.
What does earning this scholarship mean to you? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's a great thing because I remember when it first started and thinking that could be me one day, and it's such an honor to have been a part of the Striders program since the beginning, and now completing it the full circle and getting the scholarship. It's a great honor.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Following up on that, you've got this chunk of change to go with you. Where are you going next year? What's the plan post Chico High?
I'm planning on going to South Lake Tahoe Community College, which is super cool. I mean, it's altitude, and the coach there, he's a Chico State alumni, so he really knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it seems like they have a really good group of guys already there, and they're recruiting a lot of really cool guys. And I mean, our hope as a team is to be able to compete for a place as a whole team at the state meet against Butte next year.
Awesome.
So
What's the coach's name?
Connor Wells.
Okay, Connor.
Yeah.
So then you do plan to continue running next year. You've been a distance guy, obviously. Are you going to continue with the distance? You going to try out something else at the next level?
I plan on staying with distance. The idea currently is to be like a 15 5K guy, but might change. Seeing as how things go, but that's the plan for right now.
All right, so let's do a little bit of reflecting on the high school running career. Most memorable race. Your most memorable race.
It might be recency bias, but probably my 2 mile race at sections.
Yeah.
Where I had a huge breakthrough in all the training culminating, and I was so close to getting my season goal of under 10 minutes with 10:01. I was right there, but it was an amazing race and it was super fun.
That's so cool. Yeah. Congratulations. That's a great season. Congratulations on the scholarship. Good luck in South Lake Tahoe. One more question. Your dad is standing over there staring at us awkwardly. I mean, your dad, obviously. That's what he does, is he stares awkwardly. On a personal level, what was it like to be able to run under your dad's coaching for the last few years? Is that a pretty unique experience?
It was, at first it was a little weird because especially because I was I was more experienced than all the other freshmen coming in. Mm-hmm. And I was put on varsity as a freshman.
Yeah.
Not because my dad is the coach, but because
that's what the number said.
Yeah, I was the next guy that needed to be on that team. Mm-hmm. And it's been fun being coached by him because he's accomplished some really great things with some really great athletes over the past few years, including this year with Taylor.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool growing up watching that and then now being a part of that.
Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, your dad's a good dude. Great job. Great season. Thanks for giving us a couple minutes. We appreciate it.
Good job, Pete. So cool.
Yeah, very cool. Kenton, we appreciate you.
Good job, Kenton. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, good luck. You're going to kill it.
Bud.
Very cool. A 10:01. Dang.
Ross, I don't think I could have done that when I was 18 if I had been running consistently like I am
impressive.
now, or like Kenton does. Yeah, Kenton's a cool kid. I was telling you a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
When I got into teaching, I did my student teaching at Chico High, and that's where I first met Kevin Gert. And at that point, Kenton was young. Like, he might have been a year or two old at that point. And I heard, oh, my son Kenton. And so it's kind of cool. And then to run into him at Striders when my daughter did Striders a few years ago. And now my daughter just finished running in her first year at Chico High under Kevin Gert. And Kenton's a senior, and his daughter, I believe, was a sophomore this last year. So it's really cool. Again, it's like, the 6 degrees of separation of the Chico running community. Like, you can connect everybody pretty quickly. So it's really cool to see Kenton come full circle with his running. And now really awesome that so many of these kids that got these scholarships are going to continue to run at the next level, whether it's community college or 4-year college. And Kenton's just a really nice kid.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see him earn that scholarship and to get an opportunity to continue his running.
Yeah, so true. And this whole thought process of wanting to compete next year against Butte jumped out to me. I thought that was really cool. I did a little digging and learned that Lake Tahoe Community College, after its start in 2023, has its first full men's team competing this year. Now, that was October 9th, 2025, an article published in a newspaper up there. So it's starting up is what's going down. Connor Wells, a Chico State grad, said in this article, quote, starting from scratch is something so different and so exciting. We're looking forward to competing as a full team. They've got hopes for a full women's team in the near future as well. So Kenton Gert is going to be part of the start of a program, essentially speaking, and I imagine they're going to be looking to make strides in competing against other schools and making a name for themselves. So perhaps having this target of trying to go up against Butte, which obviously we've discussed is, making significant improvements and has seen the fruits of their labor over the last few years come to fruition, if you will. So yeah, keep an eye out for for Lake Tahoe Community College and Kenton Gert doing his thing.
Yeah, super cool that he's going to get an opportunity to help build up this program. That's so awesome.
Isn't that? Yeah.
It's so cool.
And they're led by a Chico State grad too. So,
I got to believe that Kevin knows him because Kevin's a former Chico State runner. Remember when Gary was here, he was telling us it's kind of like the Greg Popovich, web of coaches where there's one here, there's one there, there's one here, there's one there. And it seems like kind of Gary is getting that spread of coaches all over, whether it's locally at the high school or out in these, community colleges and 4-year colleges.
Yeah, that's so true. And now, if there is a stud that emerges from Lake Tahoe Community College, Gary Town will be like, hey, Connor, feed him my way for his final 2 years.
Exactly, right? It's a system. Gary's no fool. Kevin's no fool. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of no fool and knowing what they're doing, how about Lucia? There's another Run Strong Scholarship Award winner that we were able to speak to. This one's near and dear to Sean and Kendall, as it's their daughter, and Sean and Kendall run with us many BRC events, many Fleet Feet runs, and their daughter won a scholarship, and she is really smart, we found out. And this was a wonderful conversation. Also just really appreciate how she is as a runner and how she goes about doing her thing. So enjoy this conversation with Lucia, and shout out Sean and Kendall. They've raised a good one.
So we are here with Lucia, another scholarship recipient tonight. You were a strider, you've been running for a long time. You didn't get a chance to speak earlier, so we're trying to give you guys that opportunity now. What does earning this scholarship mean to you?
I think it's really impactful for me just because Chico Striders was so impactful as a younger kid, and I feel like that's really informed a lot of like who I am now. So I think it's just like really special to be like considered for the scholarship.
Again, congratulations. Nice little chunk of change to take with you. Where are you taking this money? What's the next step?
I'm going to UC Berkeley for my next 4 years.
We got a Cal Bear in the house. Wow, congratulations. That's outstanding. I'm sure your parents are very proud of you. So looking back on the last few years of running, what's a highlight from a race, from an event, something that really stands out to you from your running?
I think being able to run with one of my best friends. We were co-captains for our cross-country team this past year, and I think that just like having them with me and just getting, because we also pace pretty similarly, so just like getting to support each other in our events this past season has been like my favorite thing ever.
That's incredible. I think that's something that we speak to a lot on the podcast is the community that comes with running, and clearly you have that community. One more question going to Cal now. What are you going to be studying there? What's the plan?
I got into the College of Letters and Sciences, so you go in undecided. I'm thinking integrative biology, and I want to go on a pre-med track.
Awesome. Way smarter than us. Way smarter than us.
I had a question. Yeah. I really enjoyed kind of your story, learning a little bit more about it. Tracy, obviously, the connection there has to mean a lot to you. She wrote a wonderful speech. When I run, I try to encourage others. It means a lot to me. I appreciate the positivity. So that element of your story really resonated. It hit me. Like, where does that come from? It's more than being a fast runner or anything like that. It's about kind of the community angle for you. Where does that come from?
I honestly think it comes from being an older sibling, because I have a younger sister and then a bunch of younger cousins, so I've just always been like kind of had that like making sure that nobody's left behind, nobody's left out, and like kind of helping my younger sister, younger cousins like speak up for themselves. And I think that's definitely like kind of influenced how I go about like community and running.
So good. I think I'm sure they do, but you should immediately find the Bidwell Run Club, and they should immediately appoint you to some kind of board role, because you get it.
Agreed. Yeah. Again, thank you, Lucia. Best of luck at Cal. We'll be looking for you when you're back in town visiting your family and getting roped into doing some runs with your dad and your mom.
Congratulations. Dad, you proud?
Absolutely. She definitely got the brains from her mother, but I'm very proud of her.
Awesome, Sean.
Sean for the win.
Sean for the win, indeed.
Really cool. And, having known Sean and Kendall for a while now, Lucia seems like a really nice combination of the both of them. Just like really thoughtful, and kind, and what a cool thing for her and for Sean. I'm glad Sean was there and got to chime in there too. He's such a good dude, and Kendall's so great too.
Yeah, he really is. It was cool. Sean was listening to us interview Lucia, and that was awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations to all of the winners of these scholarships. And like they said, like all the sponsors said, like Danny said, find your community, give back to it at your next stop.
Yeah, so true. And part of that community, one thing Lucia's been thinking about here is her story. It's not always like the fastest or the best runners, and this presentation and who the scholarships were awarded to shows that.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. It's really important that being a good runner, there's other skills that you can possess, that, being positive, uplifting those around you, having this kind of team mindset, thinking, more about it from perhaps like a a leadership perspective. Like Lucia, obviously, if she wanted to, would make a good coach. She
best.
understands that element, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's cool because on one side you have Taylor, who's just crushing it speed-wise, setting section records and deservingly getting a scholarship. And then on the other side, you've got Lucia, who may not be the fastest runner, but she's very supportive. And her story resonates with people like Tracy and Christine, who sponsored her, and Tracy's amazing speech, and obviously us getting a chance to talk with her and her sharing why she likes to run. So we've got these sort of different pockets unfolding with Run Strong scholarships and Danny DeMeo and the Chico Striders, and that's not by accident.
No, it's not. And that was, again, one of the things that talking to Danny when we had him on here was everything is so intentional.
Yeah.
The way he sets up the scholarship fund, the way he runs his Striders programs. I just love it, man. It's just so enlifting and inspiring, like you said. And just such a nice snapshot, again, of the running community. We have a little bit of everything, and everybody's supportive of everybody else.
Yeah, way cool. Well, that'll put a bow on Global Running Day. Great job with the interviews, Pete. It was fun to be there and to film it and to be a part of it. And just a smashing success was the event. Everybody got Schubert's ice cream, too, afterwards. That was a big hit. So way, way cool. There's another thing going down here that we want to talk about, a couple races that took place involving our dear friends. We got the mustache smashing and the form smashing. That's what just went down, y'all. Big races, big success. Let's first hear from Stephen Hartman, the Tennessee Big Deal, went up to Oregon, right?
Yes, he did. He did and crushed it. Let's hear about it and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Dude, you just crushed a 50K, bro. Congratulations. It must have been epic. What was your reaction to showing up to the race scene on the morning of the event?
So it was kind of a low-key event, so there was, not a lot of runners there. Like I was probably the second person to show up. They were still setting up the pickup station and stuff like that. So it was kind of like, man, I felt a little like I was an overachiever. And, I showed up 30 minutes before the race and like nobody else was there. So I was like, wow, maybe this isn't a big deal for everybody, but it was for me. So I was excited about that.
That's the Tennessee Big Deal. That's perfect. It is a big deal to you.
It was a big deal to me.
What was something memorable from the race, during the middle of the race at some point? What stands out from it? Good, bad, ugly, none of the above?
So there were some really amazing views. I unfortunately didn't stop to check them out very long. I was kind of focused on, staying upright. And so I was pretty focused on, the trail and, my footing and stuff like that. So the first half marathon loop, smashed it, felt great. Came in just right at 2 hours for the half marathon, which I was really, like ahead of pace there. The last 30K was kind of like a long, slow grind. And, I was really feeling it around like mile 28, 29, and really looking for some excuses to slow down a little bit. Like I stopped twice to clean out my shoes, But the first place guy came in an hour ahead of me and the second place guy who we would switch places at aid stations pretty much. And then at mile 22, he took me and I never saw him again. So, but hey, it was great. I learned a lot. I probably went a little hard out the gate, but heck, I think at mile 28, 29, it's my uncharted territory for me. So, didn't know how I was going to feel.
It's so good. You're so right. It's crazy how when you get late in that run for me in Mendocino Coast, it was like such a grind to push it, and my mile pace slowed down so much. Yeah. I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah, it was tough. They were totally runnable miles, and I was shuffling for sure.
Well, now that the time has passed, what are your reflections, man? You did a 50K, you finished third too, like you're on the podium. I know there wasn't very many runners, but that's still a huge accomplishment, bro. Like, it's amazing.
No, I appreciate it, Ross. No, I'll definitely take it, and it kind of lit the fire, and kind of course, looking to decide what's going to be next on the list for me. So, kind of skipped the marathon last month and went straight to the 50K, and now I'm kind of like, God, am I stuck on the trail now, or do I want to go back to the pavement and beat it up and chase the pace?
I think a lot of people would say stick to the trail. right? Like that seems to be the consensus lately. I know with everybody that just did Boston, a lot of them were like, I'm going to the trails now. I'm done pounding pavement for a while. So I think sticking to the trail isn't a bad idea.
No, I think I'm kind of right there with you, Pete. So,
Dude, it's almost like the way that the training is here in Chico. You've got the hard winter marathon program through Fleet Feet that leads up to the Bidwell Classic. Obviously, we all run the half marathon at Bidwell, and we try and run it hard, or the event at Bidwell. And then it feels like it does naturally sort of shift to the trails for all of us. It's like those first few months, it's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah, spring hits, spring and summer hit. It's get into Upper Park, do the rattlesnake dance all the way through October. Then it gets cold again and hit the road and stay dry and stay warm while you're out there.
No, 100%. I will say I'm grateful to have Upper Bidwell Park as a training ground. Like, it definitely set me up for success. The technicality of those trails, like, I did a lot of training on Guardians and like 10 Mile House Road and stuff like that. And so I feel like that really, put me in a great position because, this race was advertised as super technical, rocky, Rudy, but I felt like totally prepared for the terrain and for the climbs. So I think we've got a great opportunity here in Chico, even, just Upper Park to beat you up and get you ready for about anything,
Emphasis on beat you up.
That's so good. Yeah. Let's go get some long runs together, man.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephen. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for you all and what you guys do. Keep me entertained a couple hours every week.
Just bullshitting and telling stories.
Yeah, I listen to them.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congrats.
Man, that's the Tennessee big deal, dude. Congrats. Let's go.
Steven is so cool. Like, you just come across some people and you're like, damn, that person's just cool. He's got so many cool experiences, like going back to his time in Colorado and Tennessee. Yeah. I'm really glad that he got to go do this 50K. I know he was pretty bummed when he wasn't able to run the marathon a while back. So
good point.
Kudos to him for finding a way to put his training to work. I know that was one of the things that he told me is like, well, I've done all this training. I got to do something with it. I can't just sit on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, just super proud of him and impressed and not surprised that he did so well.
Yeah, so happy for him. He's made great strides too, He puts in the work and he's improved so much as a runner. It's always fun to run with him. He's a great trivia team member as well, for those that don't know. And, he's got the best stash in Chico, so let's go. Congrats, Steven. Crushing it. Can't wait to see what you do next. And so cool to share some time and get to pick his brain about that event. Yeah. It's awesome. I love how serious, he takes it, and then, he shows up to the start of the race and nobody's there, and he's like, well, maybe this means a lot more to me than it does to others, and that it does, Steven.
It does, and he worked hard for it, so just good for Steven. Glad to see him back out. I know this week he was saying, I'm starting to bounce back. My body's starting to feel okay again. I'm ready to start getting after some more miles. So, man, congratulations, Steven.
Yeah, way cool. All right, let's shift gears to the form. Holy cow. The form is an absolute animal. Peter Hansen went up to Washington and ran a casual sub 250 marathon to further put his stamp on qualifying for Boston next year. We got a chance to catch up with him after a BRC Wednesday night run recently to hear more about his big race. Here's the form.
Okay, and you definitely found the light at the end of the tunnel, as your Strava post read.
Yeah.
Crushed it. Absolutely phenomenal work, man. What was it like?
It was cold to start. It
Perfect.
was I was loving, but it was like 38 degrees, I think, when we started the race, and then I don't think it got above 50. But it was, the scenery was beautiful. The only sketchy parts were like the road itself had a lot of loose gravel in the first half.
Ooh.
And then made it tricky for my alpha flies because I caught a big stone in the middle of my shoe that I had to stop for a second and pry out partway through, and then but once you get past the halfway point, it was pretty much like running on a sidewalk or something. It was pretty packed down and it was nice.
Cool.
But the tunnel was also very sketchy as well.
How long was the tunnel?
It's like 2.5 miles long.
No way.
Yeah, so the first half of the marathon was out and back, and then shortly after that, maybe just about a mile, you get into the tunnel, and it is pitch black. my headlamp was barely enough light to like see the ground, and like parts of the tunnel was like really beveled, so you had to like run down the center. There'd be like water dripping down from some spots that like caused some clear like sinkholes or potholes in the tunnel a little bit. Not major ones, but like definitely you don't want to step in them.
Dude, that sounds sketchy.
But yeah, and then the whole time subconsciously your like body is trying to slow down because it's scared. But then you're looking at your watch and you're like, no, you gotta keep pushing, you gotta keep going because we got a time to beat. But yeah, so that was a little bit of a battle, but smooth sailing after that.
Yeah, and what time did you end up running it in?
2:49 in like 19 seconds.
That's incredible.
Something like that.
A 3-minute improvement from your last big run was Napa?
Yeah, 3-minute improvement. Could have been a 4-minute. I had to stop to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it took me like 60 seconds exactly almost. But I was shooting for sub 250, so anything under that, I was going to be satisfied.
Yeah, that's so awesome, Pete. Congratulations, man. Now that a little bit of time's passed, what kind of pops into your mind when you reflect back on the experience? I mean, Aaron was up there with you.
This was, as far as like having Aaron there with me, was great because the previous marathon there was some traffic issues. She couldn't watch me finish. In Vancouver, she was able to see me finish. Grandma's, she wasn't able to. So in this marathon, she got to see me. I got to see her at the halfway point, and then she got to see her at the end too. She was like right at the finish line when I crossed. I just about tackled her when I crossed. I had to kind of hold myself up, but yeah, I had a huge smile on my face coming around the corner to see the finish line and her waiting for me. That was awesome.
Way cool. How'd you guys celebrate?
Lucky for us, we have some good friends that live in Seattle, and they were coming back from like a concert. And so we were able to meet up with them in Capitol Hill and get some dinner. So we were able to celebrate not only the race, but our engagement as well from a few weeks ago. So they were nice enough to kind of get us some champagne and stuff. So that was fun. It was a good way to celebrate.
Dude, awesome. Got to celebrate 2 big events. One really big event.
Yeah.
That's way cool, man. How many participants were in that event?
I don't remember the exact number, but
I mean, was it a big event? Or?
No, it was pretty small. It was one of the smaller ones I've done. It was maybe like 238 marathon runners. I don't know how many half marathon runners there were.
Yeah.
They were pretty much done and gone by the time I got to the finish line. So, but yeah, it was a decent sized race, I'd say, for a middle of the mountains kind of event. So,
where'd you place?
4th overall.
That's amazing.
The standings online say 3rd, but I know 3 people have finished ahead of me. But yeah, I'll take 4th. I'm very satisfied with that.
Yeah,
Not
dude.
what I was expecting.
Dude, that's awesome, Pete. Congratulations. Cool, man. Thanks for taking the time, dude. That's great,
thanks,
dude.
man.
Let's go, my
Let's
guy.
go.
It's been awesome to watch your journey, man. You're absolutely smashing.
Absolutely smashing indeed. The guy's incredible.
For real. And like the craziest thing maybe is that Pete hasn't been running for that long. He's just a natural.
Yeah, totally natural. The form.
Yeah. And I didn't know the adversity he ran into with the shoes and the terrain and the light. Like,
yeah,
that's so cool that he was able to just like push all that aside and keep going, which is, I mean, it's not surprising if you know Pete. It's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
He's just a hard worker who isn't afraid to get after it.
Yeah.
And
in a big way.
Yeah. And like, I'm not terribly surprised that he ran as fast as he did, considering, you know, seeing the training he's done the last couple months.
Yeah.
Like you see his training runs pop up on Strava, and it's like, I couldn't do that on my, like, I'd have to train to be able to do that. Like, and that's just a training run for Pete.
Yeah, that's such a good point. He throws down some hammers on his training.
Yeah.
Yeah, this that event was the light at the end of the tunnel marathon in Washington, a Boston qualifier. So he went out there and improved on his time. Very cool that he got to celebrate with Erin. She was there, and they celebrate their engagement, which is obviously a huge milestone in their lives. And they're a wonderful young couple. So
they really are. And yeah, so congratulations again, you guys, on your engagement.
Yeah.
And you know, it seems like Pete is maybe using that as some inspiration and motivation, right? He's got this cool thing that's just happening, and now he gets to go out and set another PR in the marathon. And I really hope he gets into Boston.
Yeah, well, he should, right? I mean, he's definitely there, and good things are happening for Pete, man. He's big things are happening for Pete. So I hope he does too. I think he will.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, cool. Hey, so let's shift gears now real quick before we get into today's guest. I think we should mention Colby Mountain TrailFest.
Definitely.
That's coming up soon.
Yes.
Get out there, register. You can find the information on bidwellrunclub.com.
Correct.
They've got a variety of races, a 24K, a 12K, a 5K. They're looking for volunteers. So if you're not planning on running or maybe running a shorter race, you can also volunteer later on in the day. Please keep an eye out for them or for that and supporting them. It's really important that we support this first race that Bidwell Run Club is having, and it's going to be a hell of a party and a really fun day. So, yeah, find all that information, Colby Mountain TrailFest on bidwellrunclub.com. And also, there's a 4th of July run coming up with Chico Running Club, which will probably be a pretty fast 5K for some in the park. I know the route's going to change a little bit this year because they're paving South Park Drive, which is really exciting in Lower Bidwell Park.
It's like everything we've always wished for and more.
Yeah, I can't wait to have both sides freshly paved and to see how much we can rip through Lower Bidwell Park. But yeah, the 5K event, Chico Running Club is hosting the 4th of July 5K. It's probably going to be a very spirited event. I didn't run it last year. We'll see what happens this year. I hope a lot of people show up and show out. It's a very special race because a lot of the proceeds go to the Run Strong Scholarship Fund for Chico Running Club. And obviously we heard all about that just a little bit ago. So we need to continue supporting Chico Running Club and other sponsors so they can provide scholarships to young athletes through the Chico Striders. And yeah, just very important. People, please go sign up. And yeah, I just wanted to pitch a couple local events coming up. So let's go. But now we got to talk about our guest. We got a special one. Dude. It's someone we've been trying to talk to for a while. And holy cow, the conversation is pretty incredible, huh?
Oh, this guy is so much fun. I think we're going to get to see a side of this guy that a lot of us don't get to see very often.
Yeah. I like, so just to give people a lens into what went down, we recorded the interview with our guest separately, and we're doing the intro now. So we've had some time to kind of think about how all of this unfolded. We're going to put them together for one long episode. Brace yourselves. It's going to be a long one, but it's well worth it because some of the stuff like you're alluding to that we learn about our guests is just fascinating. And he's such an awesome person. So it's nice to learn a little bit more about him, right?
It's a fact. In fact, why don't we get to the real deal right now?
That's right. We're providing the stories, people. Let's go. Very, very special guest. Someone who has quietly become one of the most fascinating runners in the Chico community. Neil is thoughtful, analytical, and steady in a way that makes you want to run just a little smarter. He grew up in Boston with the marathon practically woven into his childhood, took a winding path through careers as a lawyer and a teacher, and somehow turned all of that life experience into a running style built on curiosity, consistency, and a dry sense of humor that sneaks up on you mid-run. In just a few short years, he's made massive strides, built a tremendous aerobic engine, and most recently came full circle by running the Boston Marathon himself and crushing it. He's the perfect blend of intellect, humility, and work ethic, and we're stoked to have him on the show today. Welcome, the real deal, Neil. Let's go.
Neil.
Thanks, Ross. Thanks for that introduction, which is more than charitable, I'm sure.
This is why we love Neil. This is why we love Neil.
I think you might have left him speechless.
I know. You're definitely lined up for, if not the eulogy, definitely like a memorial service. You're right at the top of the batting order, my friend.
Oh, Neil, thank you again for coming in tonight. This is we've been wanting to get you in for quite a while. Ross and I think most of the Chico community would agree that you are really one of the most interesting people. Just incredibly kind, incredibly thoughtful, and just so damn interesting. And we've had the good fortune of getting a lot of runs in with you over the last couple of years, and especially some really nice long runs where we really get to know Neil. And you're just such a unique guy. And yeah, just thanks for being here. We can't wait to pick your brain and peel back some layers of the onion.
Yeah, cool. Thank you both. Yeah, let's talk about Boston.
Let's do it. Let's get right into Boston. What did it mean to run Boston after growing up there?
Well, gosh, my recollections of the Boston Marathon go all the way back to the 1970s. So it was strange. It was a strange thing because I would almost say, like, before I ran the Boston Marathon, my next previous memory was maybe 15 years earlier, just wandering past the finish line, just happened to be in the neighborhood. It's where I lived at the time. And then before that, going back like another 25 years when I was a kid. And it was very nostalgic for me. It really evoked a lot of memories. You run right by Boston College, which is where I went to school. And those years were great. And it goes by the law school kind of where I went. So it just was like a lot of memories coming up of the marathon itself and just living in the city.
So, you mentioned you went to BC, you went to law school there. So do you have like these vivid memories of like watching the marathon during those times in your life? Like being out there and slapping high fives or looking out there and thinking those people are foolish. What are they doing running that far?
Yeah, I remember watching it one year from the roof of somebody's house on Com Ave and watching the runners run by. And I just remember, like, of course, you focus on the lead runners,
Yeah.
So those guys were, like, out in front, and they were by themselves. So when I was running, surrounded by, like, what seemed like 1,000 people within, like, 100 yards of me,
It probably really was 1,000 people.
It may have been. I mean, it was wild to be among that many people, not just at the start, but, like, throughout the entire race.
Yeah.
It never really thins out on you. And the crowds are there the whole way, too, and they're great. And even though I was trying to be like very focused on having a good like running time and all that, I did do a lot of high fives, especially the kids.
Yeah.
They're out there and they're having
Nice.
fun and so on. So try to not take my all important running performance so seriously that I couldn't enjoy it a little bit too.
Yeah.
When you still PB'd, right? Or PR'd your marathon time?
I did. I really feel so blessed. Like literally, if I had had the experience of any other person from Chico, I would have lost my mind. If I had had Logan's experience or Tristan's or Selena's, where everybody was kind of had issues, health or comfort wise.
Yeah.
Or if I had had like Morgan and Meyer's situation with the buses,
Sure.
it would have driven me mad.
Yeah.
And even if I had done like what Tom and Ursula did and just like gone and had fun, I would have lost my mind. Because that is so inconsistent with what I'm all about,
100%.
I remember when I found out they were going and they said, oh, we've already qualified. We've already done it. We're just going to go and have fun.
Yeah.
And enjoy the experience. They said, what about you? And I'm thinking, enjoy the experience? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I've got my PR to worry about.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about so-called life enjoyment or whatever. I want to make sure I run a really good marathon time. So, which I did do. I wound up running a personal record, and I was really, really pleased with it. And yeah, I had a great day.
Yeah.
Just had a great day overall.
Well, and so, you did have this PR. Do you mind sharing what the time was?
I think it was like a 3:10:40, something
Incredible.
like that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I think on the watch it was a 3:09. You can't cut the corners that much when you're in such a mob.
Yeah.
So I think I ran it a little bit further than 26.2
Sure.
before I crossed the finish line.
Yeah.
But it was, as good as I had a right to expect.
Yeah. And Neil, I think it's so great too that you just made it very clear that this wasn't for fun. This was something you were going in with a very clear goal. And I think it's awesome that you accomplished it because after hearing the stories from especially like Amaya and Morgan, just how challenging it was just to get to the start line and then to not be able to really get the preparation, the pre-race preparation in that they're looking for. certainly throws a wrench in things. And I'm just really glad that you had the experience that you were hoping for. I know in the weeks leading up to that, we chatted a couple times, and you were really watching the weather to see, like, am I going to get a favorable weather day, or is it going to be one of those awful, steamy, warm Boston days where there's really not much you can do except for hold on and hope?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I came to understand in the past year, just watching people try to qualify for Boston. If you show up and it's a hot day, you can get so undermined.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I like CIM is a good Boston qualifier, it's a slight downhill. There are rolling hills, but it's like 40 degrees almost year in and year out in December in Sacramento.
Yeah.
And that 40-degree weather, you can't put a price tag on that.
Yeah.
In Boston in April, you can get a 40-degree day, which we did, which was awesome, or you can get a 90-degree day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's conceivable. The weather is super changeable that time of year. So it's funny. I came in, it's like, 40 degrees wind, like, I don't know what it said, like east-northeast. And I'm like, oh, that's too bad. It's in your face. Then I saw a flag flying downtown. I went to pick up my bib, and I saw it was flying the way like a tailwind. And I'm like, does east, northeast not mean what I think it means? Like, it means out of the east or towards the east. Well, however it goes, I had it reversed. We also had a tailwind. So we had, like, the ultimate weather that day.
Yeah.
And I actually upgraded my own personal forecast to, like, a 307, which I didn't quite get. But I felt so ambitious when I saw that weather.
Yeah.
And it definitely felt like something was going to happen.
Well, and mindset going into something like this is so important, right? You can totally, like, psych yourself out if there's a minor disruption, and the fact that you were able to adjust in a very positive way is not surprising. If you know Neil, it's not surprising at all.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, one of the things that really influences my mentality is whatever that foolish watch is saying.
Yeah.
Or the app, you know?
Oh, Garmin.
So
it's science.
My very first marathon, like a year and a half ago, I went up to Reading, to that nice hotel right by the starting bus or whatever, and I had like a 50 sleep score, and I woke up with like a 30 body battery when I got out of bed. And it said, like, don't let your bad body battery ruin your day or prevent you from doing anything. Yeah. Like, this is not the kind of messaging I want for my first marathon, you know what I mean? So I actually ran okay. And at some point, you got to start to get some perspective, like, these things don't have to stop you in your tracks. These circumstances and facts can be overcome. Yeah. And you really can't take it all so serious. You got to have a little bit of a grain of salt attitude so you don't, get misguided in how you approach that stuff or take it too seriously.
Well, and, just to be clear, this is a safe space to say all the things you need to say about Garmin, because it's happened many times before on this podcast. Like, we all have very strong feelings about the feedback we get.
Well, generally speaking, I think Garmin's been generous to me. Like, I like my numbers okay.
Yeah.
I like my VO2 max okay.
Yeah.
I like the big aggregate statistics.
Yeah.
I think it's a little dangerous, and we can talk about this maybe more down the line and get to other questions, but sometimes there's a little bit of like an information overload.
Totally.
In a way.
Yeah.
But I also really like thinking about numbers. So.
Totally.
Yeah. You had a unique take on the start of the race in Boston compared to other people that we spoke to, but you were relaxed even though there was thousands of people, which is kind of like contradictory to the Neil approach. Like, that, like, like you would expect something like all this crazy chaos around you would have rattled you. Talk a little bit about how you were able to kind of lock in.
Well, one thing was, and it's kind of a silly logistical thing, but I didn't come from downtown. I got dropped off in the town by my stepmom. So I only had like a 5-minute bus ride. So, and there was no wait for the bus because there was like only so many people could get to the town necessarily. So it was like kind of a little bit of a hack there. So I got easily to the site. And then I walked in and it was sunny, and our friend, she's been on this podcast too, Sarah,
yeah.
She had given me a lot of useful advice, and she said, those tables, people put stuff on the tables when they leave and you can grab it. So I grabbed like a blanket to sit on, sat down in the sun. And one innovation that the marathon had that I thought was like very helpful, at least to the men who were waiting, was they had like these porta urinals, like these urinals you could just stand in. Anyway, there was no lines.
Yeah.
To go to a place like 20,000 runners and not have a line is like a freaking miracle.
Totally.
You know, I could go to the bathroom like as many times as I want and not have to wait in line. So like, I just felt like everything was kind of coming up Millhouse. Like everything was like so super positive. I was just having my day.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I waved my way down to the start line. There's plenty of space to have a little jog around. I wasn't planning on doing too much of a warm up because I was going to use the first mile almost as a warm up because it's a long way to go. It's 26 miles. You don't want to, you know, burn yourself out ahead of time. And the only mistake I really made was like putting too much sunscreen on. So I had a little bit in my eyes. That was one mistake. And also taking my jacket off like 5 minutes before when I could have taken it off in the corral. There were bags to like give your jacket to charity.
Sure.
And I should have maybe done that. But I really just had like a dream experience where I just really didn't make too many mistakes and just kind of floated along and like good vibes, which is really not my lifestyle, but it was that day.
So how would you say Boston fits into your running journey so far then?
Boston is probably the last major race that I will travel to.
Interesting.
Because, and I know this is kind of people differ on this. I don't love pairing running races with traveling because like races kind of stress me out a little. I feel like I can't walk around a city all day long the day before a race or the day after because I'm a wreck. I can't have fun, weird food for the first time because I don't want some reaction that my stomach doesn't want to have. So I feel like I'm like on lockdown before a race, you know, and not really able. I mean, I'm fine to go back to Boston and get locked down because I've already kind of been there and I don't have too many new things I need to try in Boston. But I also feel like I just really enjoy the local races. And I also feel like I do perform better when I can sleep in my own bed or close to home.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
So some of these like long travels for races, I mean, I just think that like that's not where it's at for me. And I don't plan on going to like New York, Chicago. I might go back to Boston because again, I can stay with the family and whatever. It's cool. But I don't think, I think it will always be like the only major that I'm really down to try.
So having grown up in Boston and spent so much time in that area, do you think you had any kind of insider knowledge of the course that was advantageous or helped you out at all? Like knowing the route, knowing the different neighborhoods, knowing what you were getting into. Do you think that helped at all?
I think it helped at the end.
Okay.
I really only knew from Heartbreak Hill on in. Like the first 20 miles of the race go through some towns I hadn't really grown up in. And that frankly, nobody really goes through unless they're running the Boston Marathon. Like they're not like major routes to get from here to there. So it was all kind of new in that respect, the roads that I was running on until I finally got close to Boston itself.
Okay.
And I think I really had a sense of like the terrain from Heartbreak Hill and then on in. And that there were no surprises. You know, I felt like I'd walked it 1,000 times, if not run it. Sure. So I kind of really, and I was also like almost distracted by a lot of like memories from college and stuff that really took my mind off the considerable discomfort I was feeling, like mile 21, 22, 23, which is normal at the end of a marathon.
Yeah. Nice. Good distractions at that moment then.
Definitely.
Okay, hey, how about we shift into growing up in Boston?
Yes. Yeah, we're both from Northern California. You've lived in Northern California for a while now, Neil. It's a little different than Boston.
Yeah, I should say so.
Yeah. What was it like in Boston? Like here we run year round, like in the winter when it's cold here, it's not really cold, maybe like you're used to. It's not really wet and snowy around here.
So I came here by way of San Diego and I got really soft in San Diego. But when I was growing up in Boston, when we ran winter track, we would stretch out like in the hallway between the auditorium and the gym because like the basketball players had the gym. And I guess the theater kids had the auditorium. So we were in the hallway where the despised track kids were stuck. And then we would go out and run. You would run in 35-degree rain. You would run in like, if it was powdery snow, you would run.
That's nice to run in. I was pleasantly surprised how nice the powder is to run in.
It's not bad. It doesn't really interfere too much with traction. It's all right.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the right gear, like all I had was like This is gonna sound kind of silly, but like a Led Zeppelin concert T-shirt with the sleeves cut off.
Yeah, you did.
That's what I ran in like
badass.
4 days a week. So, I didn't have like 5 jackets. Like,
Sure.
I'm sure like my 9th nicest running jacket right now would have been a prized possession when I was in high school.
Sure. Well, and I mean, I think that's a testament to the evolution of gear.
Sure.
And
Gear
also,
evolution of just household income.
yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Like, hey, Ma, can I go have some money for my 9th jacket?
Yeah.
That was like a hard no.
Yeah.
Whereas today, there's just more resources, I think.
Yeah.
Not just in terms of the gear, but also the coaching. I was thinking back, I didn't hear word one from my coach about becoming a better runner. Because back then, if you weren't a top 10 runner, if you weren't an elite kid, they didn't really have time for you. Like literally, they were busy talking to their elite kids. You had to have one-on-ones with people. You had to communicate directly. And it was kind of a limited resource. Just knowledge, understanding of running or any athleticism was a limited resource.
Sure.
So I was really like not a well-informed runner as a kid, nor was I particularly like that supported. Just in the sense of like, so in my 4 years of high school, my parents came to not one single meet that I ran, not even one. But that was the norm.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a junior, a parent showed up at a dual meet in the midweek. And I'm like, who is that person? Like, oh, it's some freshman kid's father.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, is he special needs? The kid or the father? Why would a parent be showing up at a meet in the middle of the week?
Yeah.
Does this guy have a job? Like nobody, and I'm sure you've been to many of your kids' events, including the small ones.
I was just going to say, like, as a track parent now, I can tell you that dual meets in the middle of the week that start at noon have a shocking amount of spectators. Like,
yeah,
it's like it's just
if
a
you weren't
different
on
world,
like the
different
basketball
expectation.
team, if it wasn't like a ticketed event,
Yeah.
your parents would never show up to watch.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about track too, is you can show up at the meets and they don't charge you. It's
That's
awesome.
right. Yeah, there's
It's
no
awesome.
expense involved. But like, so like, you were like very much like had to be a self-starter, and that was not necessarily me back in the day. So I think that a little bit like hindered my progress as a young runner. I was never really any great shakes in high school. Maybe I ran 9th as a senior, or maybe I ran like 7th on the team as a senior, but I was definitely not, running great. And it was just a completely different world.
This is so interesting because I don't think I know this about you. I don't think I know like your origins as a runner.
No.
Or have like had these conversations, and we've gone on a ton of runs together.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that you grew up running. Like that's amazing. When did you start running? Like
sophomore year. I came out sophomore year. Yeah. And our team was amazing. We had so many wonderful runners ahead of me, and behind my class was like kind of a trough. Kids who like went to Dartmouth on a full ride, kids who ran in the nationals. The year after I left, we won the state championship. I think we had a 20-year dual meet winning streak, 20-year winning streak in spring track.
Dang, Neil, what school is this?
It's called Bishop Feehan. It's a Catholic high school in Attleboro, Mass. And they just had a tremendous distance running thing going on. So I came out for the team, but I was like, they had like the group of awesome runners, and they had the group of kids who were like, wanted to say they did something on their college applications. And I was in that second group, right? I was like the participant or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a very clear dividing line. Even like, I mean, of course, anybody could make the team.
Yeah.
It's no cut.
Yeah.
So,
which is one of the great things about track in general. It's like, if you want to run, cool, you can come run.
yeah, as long as there's room in the bus, you're good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. So, and again, I took advantage of that. And I also like, didn't always try. Like every course was like a loop, and you could always cut halfway in between and just walk like the cut that you did. So you cut the course, the 4-mile course, you run 2.5 miles, you walk half a mile, you've run like 2 miles.
Yeah.
So like I was not really enhancing my race performance with that approach, God forbid it was an out and back and the coach was at the end. At the out and back, you had to like say hello.
What a sly move, Neil.
So,
Neil.
But I didn't take it too extra serious when I was younger. It was just kind of hanging out.
So has it always been distance? Did you always do whatever the distances were in high school? 1 mile, 2
1 mile and 2 mile. Yeah. Yeah. Which, like, in winter track, we had to run indoors. I think it was a 15-lap mile.
That sounds miserable.
It is miserable because you got to, like, again, unless you're one of the top 5 kids crossing the line, they don't care what you do. You have to count your own laps. And honestly, if you're, like, taking it serious,
we can hook you up with somebody with a strategy.
You just stop running. After about 12 minutes, like, yeah, I'm pretty much done here.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the fast runners, they're passing you all the time.
Yeah.
And they yell track.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get out of their way.
Sure.
Well, on a big oval in spring track, they'll do that one time in a 2-mile race.
Yeah.
But if it's 15 laps to the mile, you're on track from the beginning. Like, you're off the start line, someone's yelling track like 2 seconds later. This guy's already passing me. So I only did like a season and a half of winter track before I just gave up. It was just too demoralizing, especially the 2-mile.
Hard to build confidence.
Yeah. You mentioned how much gear has evolved a little bit ago. Can you give us an idea, maybe like early impressions of running culture, kind of like back then, or like what shoes were you wearing, or like, do you remember that kind of stuff?
I remember one kid had a pair of Asics Tigers, but you wouldn't say like Asics, you would say Asics Tigers. Like the specific shoe was out there. I ran Nike racing flats with the spikes you could remove, and you could screw in just the studs if you were on a spike-free track. And they had the plastic studs, the same shoe for cross country.
Yep.
What color were they? Were they some cool retro color?
They had kind of the muted colors, yeah.
Burnt orange.
Exactly. And then, like, the running gear, again, it wasn't very sophisticated at all. If a kid had like a nylon jacket, they were like fancy. That was about as good as it got. And no Gore-Tex or anything like that, despite the weather.
Sweet Casio watches.
And again, the miles had to be marked out. You had to know where they were. And then you had to keep track on your watch of your mile pace. You had to know when you were hitting those mile markers in your head and note it down. So just like, I remember when this kid Dave Casey, he was a big star and set the 2-mile record indoors like 9:15, which stood for like 20 years.
Jeez.
He came in the summer. He had a literal paper calendar with all his miles written down and all the times.
Yeah.
He's like, this is what I did this summer. Nobody else had any idea of what they had done that summer. You just would never.
Yeah.
Like now I know I can find what I ran 2 years ago if I want to.
Yeah. What you ran.
How fast.
Who you were with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would this have been about the time that Prefontaine was gaining a lot of popularity? Was it before that, after that?
It was after that, but I don't know if you know Bill Rogers. It was just a little bit after the Bill Rogers sensation of Boston.
Sure.
And he had like a running store,
which
was a very fancy thing downtown in Boston at Faneuil Hall or the Quincy Marketplace. And like his like socks or T-shirts were very, prized things. You would get on the train to go into Boston and like buy a pair of socks.
Yeah.
But there was I wouldn't say that like distance running was really like in the popular imagination necessarily at that point.
Okay. Wow. So you mentioned the indoor track. I got a couple questions about that because that is a totally foreign world for me, Ross. I probably speak for you.
Good point. Yeah.
Indoor running is a totally foreign concept. I mean, besides like on a treadmill, which is misery. So you mentioned like a mile on the indoor track was about 15 laps or something. So does that make it like a 200-meter track or loop like that?
Something like along those lines, yeah.
Okay.
And you're in a gym with like on the basketball courts.
Okay, so like it went around the basketball courts then essentially?
Yes.
Was it like an oval shape or was it more of like an oblong, almost squarish or rectangular
shape? It was ovaled out. Yeah, I had to cut the corners, yeah.
Okay.
It was flat.
Okay.
I mean, it was just like
that was to be my next question was what
was
it cambered
now,
at all?
I can remember going into the Y downtown Attleboro, like the old school Ys all had an indoor track in the Y, and it was above a basketball court.
Yeah. And
it was a situation where if you were playing basketball, you had to have a low jump shot. You couldn't have a lot of arc because you would hit that track.
Oh, wow.
You had to shoot low.
Yeah.
To keep it down because you would just clang off the bottom of the track if you hit a proper 3-point shot.
Yeah, that's
and the
crazy.
track was also angled. It was wooden.
Yeah.
And it was angled. It was really it was so retro, but it was kind of a beautiful thing that they figured out how to even make that happen. But no, the indoor track was just like a humongous gymnasium and everybody's screaming their heads off. All the field stuff is happening right on top of you. And it's very cozy, I will say. Yeah, indoor track.
So with that, do you like hear the stomping on the track because it's wooden? Is it like thump, 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 thump?
In the Y thing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's wild. Running in that thing. And again, that was more like 20 laps to the mile. And that was a small little track. It wasn't even a full basketball court. It was more like a half court.
Yeah.
That you're running circles in. Almost like these influencers who like run a 5K like in the back of their car.
Yeah.
I mean, it was approaching that basically at that point.
Okay.
I've seen a couple of those influencers. There's that one guy who does 5Ks on like a bed.
Yeah.
On a
back
bench.
in a
back
park. And forth. Yeah.
Right on.
That's
Good
amazing.
thing Larry Bird grew up in French Lick in the outdoors and was able to work on that arc on his jump shot. Because if he grew up in Boston, that thing wouldn't have been splashing through as much.
That's the
No,
truth.
we were rattling home. It's the only way to get it to go.
Playing it. It's like those old basketball commercials from the McDonald's commercials from the 90s.
Yeah,
when they're playing horse and it's like off the roof, off the seat, nothing but net. Yeah, that's what like I'm imagining at the Y in Boston right now.
Dude, Neil, this is cool, man. Thanks for sharing all this. It's nice to get a peek into your background and your history. And let's talk a little bit about life experience. You've got a wide range of life experiences. More fascinating conversation here. A lawyer, a teacher, and a runner. How did you become a lawyer?
Law school.
Yeah, thank you.
That's the short answer. I basically was like,
thank you.
So I remember one time I was giving a 2-hour presentation on drug and alcohol abuse and the probation system in Massachusetts for like this continuing ed thing that my father had organized for people for free to get their continuing ed hours if they were counselors in Massachusetts.
Interesting.
And he got up to introduce me and says, I'm not going to embarrass Neil by reciting all of his academic successes. I also won't embarrass him by listing off all of his academic failures. And I had a ton of both. So like I barely graduated from high school. I flunked at least one class every term and never had free study. I always had to go to a science study. I flunked out of college at the age of 19 and went back at 23 and then graduated Summa and went to Germany for a year on a Fulbright fellowship and then came back and went to work for the state of Massachusetts as a budget analyst for the Ways and Means Committee. And a few friends of mine from college started a mortgage company and became millionaires, and they hired me away from the state to just sit in a little room in the exurbs above a garage and just ask people how much they were borrowing and what their interest rate was or whatever. So I did mortgage loans for a while, and they all cashed out and became millionaires and started driving BMWs. And I was kind of like just standing like, well, what am I going to do? And I really hated mortgage. Well, I didn't hate mortgages, but it was not my thing. And everyone's like, well, you can always go to law school. You can always go to law school. So 2 days before the application deadline, I ran down and grabbed an application, threw it in the last day, and they let me in. So I went. And
Amazing. It's amazing.
And it was like so brutal. It was the most brutal thing. It's because I went to like let's say the 24th best law school in the country. For the top 15.
On a whim, you went to the 24th
For the
best law
top
school in the
15
country.
law schools, it doesn't matter what you get for grade. You go to Harvard, you're going to get hired. You can finish dead last in your class, you're going to get a good job. But in that range that I was in, you would only get a really good job if you were in the top half of your class or the top 1/3. So it was blood sport. Everybody was trying to get the highest grades, and only 1 year of grades even count because they hire you as like a second-year law student. They hire you out for the following summer. So that first year, I poured my heart and soul into that.
Let's go.
And I got like B pluses that were worth like 10 A's in undergrad. I mean, I got a B plus and I was just as proud and it cost me just as much effort.
Hell yeah.
And I did not get a top job, even though I did pretty good. I think I'm a bad interviewer. I think I let on that I don't necessarily want to do the job and I really should be hiding that fact. So the only really amazing thing that came out of going to law school was a woman who sat in front of me wound up becoming my wife, and she got a top job. So I came out of law school not having to work 60, 80 hours a week, but enjoying the income of someone who did because I had married that income. So that was awesome. And I kept that going for about 10 years, and it was really wonderful the whole time. But when that didn't work out, I had become a lawyer. I was doing criminal defense work. I was doing this and that, but I wasn't that happy, and I was divorced. And a friend of mine who ran that mortgage company back before I went to law school got me out to San Diego to work at a mortgage company for like, I don't know, 3 months before the whole job blew up, just long enough for me to join a country club on a provisional basis. So because I owed the dues no matter what, and the F&B minimum, I just went and played golf 6 days a week rather than looking for a job. And I strung that along for about a year, probably the best year of my life. Blew through all my retirement savings, got my index down from like an 18 down to like a 9, and then finally wound up going back to Massachusetts where I did prisoner reentry for jail. And I was playing golf one day, and a kid comes up to me and is like, "Oh, I'm quitting marketing. I'm going to take a new career." I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to join Teach for America and become a teacher." So I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like fun." So he left. He came back a year later while I was still in Massachusetts. So I'm golfing again. "Oh, it was so amazing. I was teaching." So you know what? That sounds like fun. I want to do that too. So I threw my hat in the ring for TFA, and they accepted me and said, "You can become a teacher as long as you're willing to do math. You can do it in San Diego." And that's how I wound up becoming a teacher.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It's so amazing. And like, Neil, I'm going to just throw some compliments for a minute here. I think it's really impressive and admirable that, you're so open with like, I flunked out of college, because I think a lot of people have been there or very close to there. I'm definitely raising my hand. And it's really honorable and admirable that you went back when you were ready to be successful, right? Because sometimes I think, and this speaks to some like bigger cultural things. Like, we push kids into college when they're 18 and say, figure out the rest of your life right now, even though you haven't done anything and you haven't seen anything yet. And I think, college is really helpful and great, especially when you have a clear goal of what you're working toward, or you're ready to put in the effort it takes to be successful. And so you went back and said, "Oh, I'm just going to do this," and you kicked ass. And it sounds to me, having known you for a few years now and watched the running and the training and just heard so many stories, a lot of that translates to what you do now as a teacher and as a runner and just as a general person, right? You don't really half-ass it for anything that I've had conversations with you about, whether it's the running and, we'll get into all like the interest that you have in the training and the science and all that, your teaching and your commitment to being good at that and, meeting the needs of students. So I think it's just really cool to get this background context for where this work ethic and interest and dedication comes from.
Well, I think that the first time I went to college and failed, and the second time I went to college and succeeded, something changed. Mm-hmm. Something was different. And if I was going to say, like, I was different in the sense that I found it easier to make friends. Not even necessarily classmates, because I was 23. Mm-hmm. But, like, I found it easier to, like, be friends with the professors. Mm-hmm. I found it easier to find mentors. Mm-hmm. I found it easier to accept compliments, accept support. When people went to say, "Oh, you could do great things," I didn't experience it as an accusation that I wasn't trying hard enough, but really as an invitation to like do more and get better and get stronger. And really like derive positive energy from my community.
Yeah.
And that's what I think really sustains me. I am inherently a little bit of an introverted person. Mm-hmm. I do enjoy my time alone.
Sure.
But like other people supporting me is really important. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I try to be supportive of my students when I teach. Mm-hmm. And I try to be supportive of the people I encounter when I'm out running and who have something going on with running or have some goals or some aspirations or some success they want to share or something they want to do better or an injury, whatever. Try to like show up for them in a positive way and let people do that for me, because getting like enmeshed in a community is what helps me to sustain the effort.
Yeah. Something you said really stands out, and I think this is something that should be noted and remembered. People would tell me you could do great things, and I stopped taking that as an accusation and took it as an invitation. Like that's such perspective and just a shift in how I think a lot of people could be taking a comment like that. Like you can do great things. It's not like you're not doing enough. It's let's do great things. And so I think that's a really cool perspective and a nice way of putting it. And you certainly show up for people in this community as far as being a positive person. I'll tell you, Lisa and I were talking about you because I was like, oh, Neil's finally coming on. Like, it's working out this week. And she's like, Neil's so great. He's so friendly. Every time I see him, he asks how my running's going. During the whole marathon training, every time I saw him, he was checking in. He was supportive. He, after the race, he gave me compliments on how I did. And so there are countless stories like that in our community of people saying, yeah, Neil's great. He's always asking about how it's going. He just seems to really be in tune with what we're doing. So it doesn't go unnoticed what you are doing and the energy that you are putting out to people.
Yeah, and I get a lot of that back as well. I mean, a lot of people, including people who are like far better runners than I or whatever, and who are interested to know what I'm doing, happy to see what I posted on Strava, which I think is like one of the healthier social medias out there, something I do enjoy a lot. So yeah, it's been a give and take, but I've really gotten a lot out of it too, for sure.
So, it's so cool to finally hear like this journey of how Neil got into teaching, made his way to Chico. Like, I knew that you'd gone to law school and worked in criminal defense, but like all the stuff in between is awesome. And I think during that time you left running for a while.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
And came back. What spurred the comeback?
Well, I quit smoking when I was 50. And prior to that, well, it's like the old Mark Twain line. It's nothing to quit smoking. I've done so myself 1,000 times.
Yeah.
When I quit smoking in my 20s, quit smoking in my 30s, quit smoking in my 40s. And sometimes for a year or two and sometimes for longer. But the last time I went to quit was when I was about 50. It was right before COVID struck. And I just had a lot of time on my hands. Like, I wasn't loitering at the top of the road smoking a cigarette. So I was walking my dogs and realized I was getting all these steps. I bought a Fitbit. I said, well, now I take it to the next level.
It's a gateway drug.
So I started running around my neighborhood. And I did that for a few months until I got plantar fasciitis. That stopped me for about a year. And then I moved next to like a shoe store where they were selling these inserts, and I put those things in my shoes and it cured the problem. I couldn't walk to the bathroom when I got up in the middle of the night. I had to crawl to the bathroom some nights. It was so painful on my feet before I got those inserts in my shoes, but they cleared it up for me. And I also happened to have a treadmill brought into the garage, and I just started running the treadmill and just keeping track of the miles. And I became like a really, really good treadmill runner. Like, I would run like 12 miles.
Oh my gosh.
No radio, no TV, just me and the screen, just counting miles and fractions of miles and decimals of miles, paces. And then I lived in a place called such and such heights. So I'm always running up and downhill the minute I stepped out the door. So I really became kind of a good runner that year. And haven't looked back.
I would say you haven't looked back. That's cool too, that I quit smoking and I had a lot of free time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of my personal success, which maybe is a little bit above the norm in some respects, age-adjusted basis or whatever. But, it's like I always say, it's such a blessing to be alone. I can go ahead and die anytime I want without worrying that anyone will be upset. And in the meantime, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, as much as I want. So if I want to go run 30 miles on a Sunday, who's to stop me?
Yeah.
So it's very freeing. And, if I'm going to accept the cost of the crippling loneliness, I should accept the benefits of being able to maximize my time. So, of course, I'm not cripplingly lonely, but I do have lots of free time, and I love to use it running.
Yeah.
That was another great line right there. I love that. Hey, that the origins of the treadmill date back to right around the 19th century in Britain, and it was designed for prisons.
As a punishment, yeah.
Yeah, to keep convicts occupied with grueling labor, often as a form of punishment.
Yeah, well, they were actually usually pushing something or moving a mill or something or moving a turbine or something, which we generally are not doing. Usually there's a turbine moving for us that's electric. But yeah, the treadmill can be a form of torture to people who aren't into it, as can so many other things like doing algebra. But like for me, it's a joy. I love algebra. I love explaining. I love to talk about it. I love to solve problems. For people who have not had that positive intro, haven't had that right on ramp, it's not so much fun. And I think the treadmill, you've got to have like a very like specific on ramp to really enjoy the treadmill.
Yeah. What kind of keeps you motivated and engaged now? Obviously, I'd love for you to share with us your VO2 max.
Sure.
Which is literally in the top % of your age in the world.
As calculated by Garmin in their algorithm. But yeah, 56. Yeah. I maxed out at 57 back in December when we were doing the holiday hustle.
Yeah, we
dropped back to a 56, but I'll take it. Yeah, very solid. I think some of my like so-called VO2 max improvement on the watch is actually my form improvement. Because I'm going faster and less exertion, it thinks my cardio's gotten better, but really I'm just not wasting as much energy with my running form. So that efficiency, I'm sure Garmin would claim they can kind of tell what you're doing with their other statistics, but I tend to think that like a couple of those points is efficiency, but I'm, if anything, more proud of my form changes than I am of any like cardio work I've done. So either way, I take it as, a positive thing, that number. That 56. And the numbers do motivate me, just like it motivates me when I'm on the treadmill. And I see the miles passing by. Like how fast they're passing by motivates me. Future races and the possibility of racing well really motivates me. Every race I've run since I moved to Chico has been a PR. I'm hoping to keep that streak alive. Not trail races necessarily, but each course is kind of weird, so it's really hard to really compare one to the next. But as far as road races, the possibility of improving. And really just the fact that like, I know it's not going to go on forever, but I would like to make my best use of, my relative youth, which I'm only young relative to where I'm headed, but I am relatively young relative to that.
Write that one down too.
Another one.
You're always younger than you're going to be.
Yeah.
So
another one.
I want to get out there and like make it happen.
No, dude, I love this. I love how calculated you are. I love the thought process behind it. It's like this. That's why you're the real deal, Neil, because you're really thinking about these things. I greatly appreciate that about you, and I think this goes right into kind of our next segment and something that we really, really are interested to talk with you about, and that's kind of the science behind all of this. Pete, what do you think about kind of the science behind Neil's sort of philosophy and what he's doing and improving and getting better as a runner?
Well, I first came across Neil or met Neil in a Fleet Feet training program. This was probably 2 or 3 years ago now. It was a half marathon training program. And first off, when I met Neil, like this is sort of off topic. I thought he was younger than me. Come to find out, he's actually like just a couple years older than me, which is impressive, especially when you start.
A couple in the sense of 13, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
right on.
It's all relative, right?
It is all relative, man.
Nice, well played. Well played.
But yeah, it's been cool to see you really dive into the science of all this running stuff. You always have something that you've been studying or that you can share, and you said like you love the numbers. So I'm going to start this discussion off on the training with what's your favorite running statistic or metric to track?
My current sort of pet obsession is ground contact time, which is the amount of time your foot is on the ground.
Yeah.
Per stride.
Uh-huh.
And it's related to cadence, which is the number of steps you take per minute, certainly. And my ground contact time is not splendid. Right now it's about a 285, but I used to be like a 320, 330, which is terrible.
But this all comes on the heels of you making massive changes your form.
It's incredible.
Yes. Massive changes. My first attempts actually were a little misguided. So when we ran that race, the Bidwell Classic. I ran a 138 there.
Yeah.
Nothing
to sneeze at.
It was fine. I won my age group. Everybody told me, wow, for your age, awesome. I'm like, thank you. I'll take it. I am soon going to be 57, or as I like to think of it, 60 minus 3.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's all great. But I also had a heart rate of like 167 for that whole run, which is only like 5 beats off my max.
Yeah.
So I was in like short interval
for
90 minutes or for 100 minutes in that race. And I ran at Monterey at 134. I ran a couple other races. And wrap around to the next year, I ran about a 133 at Bidwell Classic. And I was getting ready for the marathon training. And somebody filmed me at the end of that race. And they were kind enough to show me coming across the finish. So we all have, when I run, I can't see myself. I'm not running in a mirror. I'm outdoors.
Yeah.
I have a notion of what I look like when I run. So when they showed me that video, I was aggrieved by how horrifyingly broken down I looked. So of course, the first thing I did is I reached for an excuse. I'm like, well, I just ran as hard as I could for 95 minutes.
Yeah.
How much great form can we reasonably expect? So I went to the first marathon thing, and I saw, Paul Smith was there. He runs it. And he had been at the finish of the thing. I didn't really know him very well, but he had been at the finish of the half marathon. And I said, I just ran the half marathon. I saw you there. And I said, did you see my running form? And he looked at me and goes, yeah. You've got a lot going on. Yeah, it's all right. Cool. And we changed the subject. So because I had seen myself and I knew it did not look good, just my own amateur opinion was this is not a good looking running form. I was a little sensitive, and I'm thinking, did that guy just say the kindest possible thing he could to not hurt my feelings? You've got a lot going on. Did he mean that in a good way? I don't think so. Was he afraid that if he just told me the truth, I would start crying or quit running? And he had to soften it up. So I knew that my form was bad. And never mind if it was the end of the race. So I looked at my numbers in Garmin, and I saw my cadence was like a 155. Bearing in mind, I'm running as hard as I can. And a cadence of 155 at a race pace is terrible. It is terrible.
So for reference, what would you be shooting for? Like what would be average?
Everybody says that the goal cadence is 180.
Yeah.
And that's based on elite milers who were observed by a very famous running coach running 1 mile as fast as they could, elite runners. Properly speaking, most amateur runners who are racing should be in the 170s. Or think that, and if you're training out there and you're in the 160s and you know it will scale up to the 170s when you race, you're all right.
Are you doing the same thing as I'm thinking?
Yes, I am.
You're okay in the
looking up my
160s.
cadence.
And try to look at a road one, not a trail one, because the trail's a different animal. Try to look at a road one. And look at something, if you're in zone 2, I'd want to see you between 160 and 165. But you might be higher. I think you have a generally high cadence, Ross. I think you're probably in the 170s on training runs, quite honestly.
Thanks for having my back, Neil. That's why I appreciate you.
No, I mean, I've run next to
brain.
you, and I've tried to match your cadence, and it's a little higher than mine. I have to increase it to match up to you.
How do I lower my cadence? Do I want to lower my cadence?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Again, some people just have a really healthy cadence. 170s up to 180. And again, if you can get to 185, that's awesome. If that's natural to you, that's great. But you don't have to like artificially chase 180 as a magic number. You do. Most people are a little lower than they should be, though.
One thing I do want to ask you is you mentioned that you ran that Bidwell Classic and your heart rate was 5 under your max.
Yep.
You've done such incredible work over the years to improve your heart rate. I know you mentioned the holiday hustle. We, had for me, it was such a fun experience to go back and forth with you, and you helped elevate me in that experience. It became so much more than a competition.
Yeah,
it became
it's
something
awesome.
about pushing me, and I really, really, really appreciated that. And through that whole experience, like if you compared our runs, we got a few weeks into it, my heart rate was just out of control, but your heart rate the whole time was so steady, and you were in zone 2 in a lot of these long runs. And I just found that so impressive. How have you over the years gotten control of your heart rate? What have you focused on?
Well, I think one thing that's true is that as you get older, your maximum heart rate goes down a little. And so if I'm running at a 130, that's comparable to you running at like a 138 or a 140. So that's one thing that is true. I just have put a lot of miles on. I ran 2,300 miles last year. I run a lot of the threshold work. I try to run speed work. I try to push on hills and do all those types of things and have different types of runs, different types of distances. But just to really circle back to my story about the cadence thing. So I went to go change my cadence, right? Because I thought it was a red flag because it was 150s and it should have been 170s. And I made like a kind of quirky change. Like I wanted to change that one statistic to make it good. And I actually almost hurt myself. I was just trying to get my feet down faster without really changing my overall form very much. I tried to implement one little neat trick, let's say, to fix cadence. And that's really how to not go about it. And that's what I would want people to not do, is find one thing, one number they don't like, and then think of a solution and then implement it themselves. Like usually when you see those numbers beyond pace, distance, heart rate, anything else you're looking at is usually a symptom.
Okay.
It's not a cause. Like your cadence is not causing you to be a bad runner. You being a bad runner is causing your cadence. And you need to figure out why you're a bad runner and
Write
change
that one down.
Yeah.
And if you do, you'll get better. But if you try to like be a bad runner with one more weird, it's like fixing your golf swing. If you have a fundamentally broken golf swing, you're swaying back your head and your body off outside your right foot.
Yeah.
You know, doing one little thing or changing your grip is not going to give you a beautiful result. You need to like build from the base up and make sure you have good fundamentals. And really, it's not that different from golf. You really need to have better balance. And if you do this, you will be much more efficient and a lot more, you'll conserve energy and you'll unleash energy the way you want to. You won't leak it, you know, swaying off the golf ball, swaying through it. You'll put it, so when you're running, what you don't want to do is let your head drop forward or your shoulders or your arms and then put your feet forward, because putting your foot forward is like hitting the brakes. And you don't want to hammer the brake every time you take a step. You want to get reasonably your feet under you by having like a pretty good posture, having your arms pretty compact and close to your body, and keeping your feet under your center of gravity and behind your center of gravity. It's the most common problem, I would say, and it's also the most common, I think, cause of low cadence and the cause of long ground contact time and the cause of excessive vertical oscillation. And a lot of these other weird numbers you're seeing, it's caused by the fact that your feet are out in front, you're hitting the brakes, and then you've got to reaccelerate and you're leaking all kinds of energy. And
I feel like I'm guilty of all these things.
Analogy I would make that I think is really
busted,
so
busted.
brilliant. If you know anything about cross-country skiing, can you picture a cross-country skier?
Sure.
Imagine if you take that ski pole and you set it down out in front of you, so the pole is leaning back towards you.
You're slowing.
If you push on that,
Yeah.
you're going to push yourself backwards.
Yeah, you're slowing yourself down.
You have to wait until your momentum carries you past the point where you put it in the ground, till that point is behind you before you can shove down and move yourself forward. And in running, if you land with your foot in front of you, you have to wait until your center of body mass goes across your foot before you're allowed to push off and move yourself forward. And that is why you want to land with your feet under you as much as possible. And most people who are not as fast as they wish they were, this is their problem. There are a lot of folks. And you can really, the other thing I would say is like, this is not destiny. This is not who you are. This is not your natural run for you. Like most of us ran when we were little kids. We ran around the neighborhood. We stopped running. We took a 20-year break and then we went back to it.
Yeah.
And when we came back to it, we didn't start running like a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old. For those 20 years we weren't running, what were we doing to get around? Walking. And that's what we understood. So when we said, hey, run, so I'll just walk really fast and have a little hop in between to kind of get my feet off the ground at the same time. That's not your natural, what you're doing is not your natural running gait from when you were a kid. It's this thing you contrived out of your walking experience to re-engage with running. So please don't feel like you're married to your current running form or it's natural to you, or you can find a running form that's so much more natural for you and feel so much better. Not only will you run fast, you'll feel so much better if you're willing to open your mind. You know, we just talked about the comparison to a golf swing.
Yeah.
We know golfers who torture themselves, will never break 100. Take it seriously. And if you say, dude, you just rebuild your swing, they'd be like, oh, no, this is my swing.
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is my swing.
Totally.
As if it's like a reflection of their inner soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most times, like, this is like a reflection of whatever. I said, dude, don't say that about yourself.
Yeah.
Because if that is true, you're not going to heaven.
It's so limiting, right?
If that swing is your soul personified, you're in trouble. So you've just got to like, and this is the number one thing I would say is different from the 80s when I grew up with running and today. In every walk of life, education, everything, growth mindset. When I was a kid, if you got 110 on your PSAT, your SAT was going to be 1100, and God Himself wasn't going to change it. All you could do is go sit for the SAT, take your 1100, move forward, whatever.
Yeah.
The idea that you could change outcomes with effort, the idea that you can go to the gym and build muscle, unknown in 1985.
Sure.
If you were not a big kid, you were not going to play football.
Yeah.
And you were nothing you could do about it. And all of that was foolishness. We can all change ourselves all the time. Every morning we can wake up and recreate ourselves a little bit different than the day before.
Totally.
If we wish. And that super applies to running form, and it's so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it. I'm more proud of my changes to running form than anything else I've accomplished in the last several years, I would say, in any domain.
So Ross, last year, we recorded a bunch of podcasts, and there was something that kept coming up with like almost everybody we talked to, like if you want to become a better runner, you have to, and it was strength training.
Yeah.
Right. That was the big push, and like we've gotten on board with that. We've both been doing our strength training. I'm definitely making strides, but like now, Neil just said like one of the biggest things you got to work on is balance.
Yeah.
And that's got me thinking so much more about balance because, Dr. Lisa, the PT, is always like, your balance sucks. Like, you think you have good balance, but you don't. Like, stand on one leg. One of them is definitely better than the other with your balance. There's no doubt, but it can always get better. And I think this might be the theme of the rest of this year is improving balance to make the whole running form so much better.
Nice.
And really becoming conscious of, again, where do you carry your arms? How come? Where's your head? How come?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can do your feet are under you? Do you feel like they're landing in front of you? If you make this change, does it feel good? And experimenting a little bit with with changes that are sensible to kind of get to a better place.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, and you were mentioning earlier, kind of your hips out, your head straight, kind of being a little bit more taller when you run. I've run with you a few times, and you've pointed that out to me, like, hey, you're looking at the ground, like look ahead. You've given me tips like on the fly when we've run
I think
together.
that is that's one of the very first things I would say to anybody is that would be my one rule for runners is see trees, not pavement. If you just have eyes neutral out the front of your head, you should be looking at the trees in Lower Park. You should not be looking at the ground. If you want to see what's going on the ground, you cast your eyes down, not your face. You don't have to like nod down. And again, it's not about ramrod straight or like military strict posture, but it is about keeping your head up and, square over your torso. And that does save you a world of grief. Because the minute it goes forward, and of course, nobody's going to see a demonstration I did, but do you mind if I just try to quickly show you this?
Sure.
Just so you can see it. So
play by play.
If I'm standing up nice and straight, my feet are...
We're recording this
under me,
video-wise, so you all can see it.
Okay.
We'll share it on social.
Perfect.
So what happens if I lead my head forward? Well, you see my head drop forward, right?
Yep.
Now let me do it and watch my hips. My hips are back.
Yeah.
My feet are in front of my hips, right? So if I land my foot...
It's the cross-country skiing
It's a heel
theory.
strike. Yeah. It's in front of my body. It's stopping me, and I have to wait now. So if I'm one of these people who wants to be a 4-foot striker, and my foot's out here, my only way to do it, if my foot lands here, is to extend my foot. You just heard my ankles crack when I did it. Extend my foot, flex it to the ground. This is horribly unhealthy.
Yeah.
Now I have massive ground forces hitting me, hitting the brakes, but I'm hitting it in my toes instead of my heel where I'm used to it.
Yeah.
This is an injury waiting to happen.
Yeah.
If I can bring it down here, I can get on my forefoot very naturally or strike. But anywhere here is less braking forces, and I can immediately push forward. So I need to keep my feet under me and avoid what happens if the other thing folks do is they swing their torso side to side instead of their arms.
Yeah.
What happens to my right hip if I do this?
You open up.
And what is my hip doing? It's rotating back, right?
Rotating.
Now my foot is behind my hip again.
Yeah.
People twist their torso instead of moving their arms.
And the efficiency is out the
Any
window.
mass moving forward in your upper body is going to move your hips back, and it's going to put your feet out in front of your center of mass. And that's going to just really be slamming on the brakes every time your foot hits the ground.
And you're never going to get as fast as you want to get.
And you're just going to use, if you see a video of yourself running at the camera, right? And you just you hit the ground and you can see your quads, or it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger's. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That means you have excessive quad engagement when you land. That means that your quads are working too hard every time you land. And you need to take some of that stress off your quads, get your feet under you, and start moving forward and not hitting the brakes. It's literally like you go to an empty parking lot and you step on the brake as hard as you can and then press on the gas and see what your car does.
Yeah.
It's not going to accelerate the way you're used to.
No.
Like you cannot be hitting that brake
Yeah.
constantly, expect a smooth ride, you know? And that's so many people who think, oh, I'm not a fast runner. I don't have speed. I don't have this. Like there's some magic gift. Quite often it's their form that's undermining them. And if they were willing to change it and give it some thought, they could, change their aspirations if they want to.
Yeah.
You mentioned that someone showed you a video at the Bidwell Classic that kind of helped usher in some of these changes that you've made to your form, and Coach Paul seeing it as well. You want to know how to feel awful about your form every day? Get yourself a drone.
Yeah.
Because ever since I've got that drone and I go back and edit some of this footage together, like one of the first things that jumps out to me is like, oh my gosh, my form looks terrible.
Well, and with the drone, you can fly it around you in 360 degrees and see how awful you look from every angle.
Every night, it got to the point where I'm putting this thing away.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should say that because I know before we went to record, you said, like, what is the one thing I would ask people to do? What is like a little homework assignment I would give people?
Oh, yeah. We got some good ones.
That's guaranteed to make you a better runner. And the answer is film yourself running.
Yeah.
You can do it on a treadmill, on profile, or just go outside and set it up and run by in both directions. Do it at like a zone 2 pace, do it at your threshold pace, pick it up a little. And then before you watch the video, just try to take a breath and not be defensive or upset. Because, I
Give
got
yourself
upset.
some grace.
I myself got a little choked up. I was not really in a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Like no matter how good or bad it looks, it's just a running video. You may change things because of it or not, and that's cool. But take the information on board in like a healthy way and ask yourself, is this how you thought you looked? Do you like the way you look? Do you look relaxed? Do you look happy? Do you look like you're breathing comfortably? Do you look, and then slow it down, and when your foot hits the ground, is that shin bone pointing back at you like you're hitting the brakes, or is that shin bone leaning forward, ready to keep going for the forward momentum? And if you feel like you really want to make some changes, come and find me. I've got a million little notions myself. I'm not certified nothing, or I can point you in the direction of like coherent resources that will actually help. You can take my half-assed advice for free, or you can go find someone who knows what they're doing and spend like the cost of a pair of running shoes and really like get sound advice. But and there's many other people who would be happy to offer you some reasonable advice on that too, I'm sure, in our community. Many experienced and excellent runners who can point you in the right direction.
It's a humbling experience besides, generally speaking, running with Pete the Form.
Yeah.
And you're just like cruising along with him and you're like, damn, he's just such a natural runner. Like, I probably look just like that because I'm cruising right next to him. And then you see a video of yourself
Pete,
running.
You do look just like that.
No, real and feel are two very different things. And I'm totally on board with, if you want to get better, see yourself on video.
Exactly. And it's a revelation. It can be a revelation.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, other people may just be a little bit too stiff.
Yeah.
Other people may not just have relaxed arms. You should look like you're dancing along. And
what if I don't have rhythm?
Again, you get to make up your own beat. Luckily, you don't have to keep time with the music. Please do not run an audio track over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but again, I myself, and again, I would rather. There's almost nothing that could happen to me that would be worse than being asked to dance in public. But the running thing, you do have to kind of get relaxed. You do have to kind of like. It is possible to like enjoy the running and run really faster than you've ever run, which you think is so much harder work, but it's a joy, and it is out there if you want willing to make those changes.
Is there anything you do for your heart rate? Are you thinking maybe about rhythm or like counting maybe?
I try to maintain even deep breathing.
Okay.
Usually, if I'm running in like zone 2, like an 840, let's say, 850 mile. Low zone 2, like keep my heart rate around 125, 130. I try to do four breaths or 4 steps per inhale and 4 steps per exhale.
There it is.
If I'm up around 820, 830, it's like 3 and 3. And then I kind of lose track in the low 8s, but then I pick it back up on like 2 and 2, like 750, 740.
Interesting.
And that's like for somebody that pretty much works for me. But I definitely am not a person whose breathing is independent of cadence. Like there's usually a relationship there. And what I also do is I sometimes try to add in an extra step per breath to up my cadence a little, to try to sneak in that and just kind of like get the steps going a little bit faster. And when I say steps going a little faster, I mean I pump my arms a little bit faster. The key thing, try to never have a lower leg thought or a lower leg direction. I think it's a terrible mistake. And what I mean by that is your lower legs, your knee, your ankle, your calf, your arch of your foot and your toes are miraculous. You have taken millions of steps in your life and probably never once broken your foot on a misstep. Even though if you get bad information, like there's a weird like drop in the floor or a step off a curb you didn't see, you can break your foot pretty easily. But if you have reasonable awareness of where your next step is going, you never screw it up and you never think about it. Mm-hmm. So your automatic system, right, has millions of steps of experience, a lifetime of experience getting you around with no mishaps. Your conscious brain has almost no experience telling you how to walk. When was the last time you told your feet what to do when you walked? Very rarely. So when you go to smash that glass and hit the command override button on your automatic foot system and start telling your feet what to do, you're raising a lot of danger.
Yeah.
You have to tell it to do 8 things. The one change you want to make and the 8 compensating decisions it has to make so it doesn't mess you up. So like what I try to do is give myself upper body thoughts. Where are my arms? How fast are they going? Where's my head? And then I just let my feet just kind of follow and figure it out. Like I try to not tell my feet what to do because it's such a delicate and intricate machine. It's such a web of interconnected actions that I don't want to mess with it. Because when I have, it's caused me like a lot of discomfort and a lot of grief.
Yeah.
So I just try to get like my upper body doing the right thing and just let my lower body follow.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it.
So, as we're talking about the training stuff, let's go into a couple of your favorites. Okay. We talked about your favorite metric at the moment. How about your favorite shoe?
So I mostly run in Hokas.
Mm-hmm.
I like my Mach 6s the best. It's like my speedier training shoe, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently got the Salomon Ultra Glides. I like those a lot as well for trail. I have a feeling of security in those in my heel, like stability almost.
Yeah.
That's different from just having a lot of these shoes have a wide base in the heel, but I still feel like I could turn it over.
Yeah.
The Salomons just feel like it's cupping my heel in a very secure way, and I like them a lot for trail, the Ultra Glides.
Okay. And you are a bit of a running shoe junkie. I know you have several pairs. You were very kind in donating several pairs to the Chico
and
Striders.
I have several more to donate anytime they want them, by the way.
So their junior high cross country season starts up in August. So I'll track you down we'll get those to Danny, who always is very appreciative of anybody that donates shoes. But favorite gel or nutrition right now when you're out running? Because I know you're training for some long stuff right now, so you're taking in some calories while you're doing those longer runs.
So here's the thing. I spend a fair amount of money on running, more than I care to admit. Shoes, clothes.
It's better than cigarettes.
Travel, whatever, race entries, whatever. I'm willing to spend money on gels for a race, right? $6 a gel. Let's say I take 6 of them. That's $36 for a race.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend like $36 a week on long runs.
Yeah.
On 6 gels or whatever.
Yeah.
So lately I've been doing these honey stinger gels that I got at Winco.
Yeah.
Like $1.50 or whatever. They work fine. They taste great. They never give my stomach an issue.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not pretentious. I will drink Country Time lemonade for my cardio, for my hydration calories or whatever. I'll do the Nerds gummies.
Yeah.
Anything like that. So any gel is cool as long as it doesn't upset my stomach. And the honey stingers are cheap right now. And again, because you cannot, and I believe this to be true. Again, I don't know why I believe these things to be true, but if you're not training on the gels, you're not going to utilize them effectively in the race.
Yeah.
It's like the old saying, if you study high, you got to take the test high.
Yeah.
Like you got to use those gels when you're training. So when you use those gels in the race,
they're giving you the effect you want to have. Like you're trained to make metabolic use of them almost.
Yeah. That's one of the things too, that when we've talked to Logan a couple times on here, he really emphasized the importance of you got to fuel on these long runs in your training, because
and
you
I was
play like
on
you
the
practice.
bus at the Boston Marathon with these two college kids who looked like they went to a very fancy college indeed. I didn't ask them which one, but they were very bright. And they were saying, it's not just the long run. It's those 6 to 10 mile runs in the middle of the week. You got to be using the gels on those as well. That's an opportunity to gut train that people miss. Oof. So again, now you're into like 10 gels a week.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to like have a reasonable budget on that, and you can't just go for like the $9 gel or whatever. This is absurd.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's very sage advice. Like you've kind of a theme of this, Neil's sage advice, Sage Neil. So one more best or favorite. What's your favorite running resource, book, website, blogger?
Yeah. So my advice is just like a lame summary of something some guy named Friedrich Zillian told me.
Okay.
So like the head up situation, eyes to the horizon. Friedrich Zillian, he's got this online program. I maybe dropped $150 on it a while ago, but it's comprehensive. It's fun-ish. He's got kind of a goofy sense of humor. It's a little broad for my taste. It's not exactly dry, but he's actually comes across as like, but the thing is he's relentlessly positive and he has high aspirations for the people in this program, in the sense that he's like, this is what elite runner. It reminds me of my golf teacher down in San Diego. This guy was like, hey, let's take a video of what this guy does when he swings a golf club. And he showed me a video of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
He's like, shouldn't we do something more like that? And he's showing you elite marathoners. And like, shouldn't you be more like that? Like, we're not different from elite runners. We have, we can do similar things, and we should. And we should, he features high aspirations and positivity. And that running program is gigantic. He has a lot of YouTube videos and stuff you can check out and see if he's like your jam before you spend the money. And to me, like everything the guy says is pure gold, and is like super cut above almost all other like social media advice and stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
I love this. This is a really cool segment, tapping into the brain and the strategy.
Yeah.
We're going to pick it up in just a sec. I want to make sure we get this whole conversation saved.
Yes.
And we'll take a bit of a break and talk about Dan the Man, our man, doing his thing.
Dan the Man Malden.
With the financial advising. So you got to check out Dan. And here's a little bit more about him, and we'll be right back. You know what? This break is brought to you by pacing, because running too fast too soon never ends well.
You've never said anything more accurate, Ross. We've all seen it. Someone blasts off the starting line only to burn out halfway through a race. Guilty.
Me too. And the same
I've
goes.
met somebody.
Oh, Bidwell Classic last year. Hey, for Ross Field. The same goes for your finances. If you don't pace yourself, you risk running out of steam before you reach your goals.
Yep, and nobody helps you set that pace better than Dan the Man Malden. He knows how to balance short-term wins with long-term strategy.
He runs with BRC. He bikes all the time, so he understands endurance, and he'll help you pace your 401k like you pace your 10K. Steady, sustainable, and smart.
Because financial planning isn't about sprinting. It's about building a rhythm that carries you through the miles of life.
Don't just sprint. Plan for the marathon. Call Dan at 530-500-2782. That's 530-500-2782, and let him help you find your stride. All right, we're back. Pete's getting hydrated here. Lock it in.
Always hydrated.
Oh, always hydrated. It's that time of year where we need to be hydrated. It's hot, man.
We are getting into the hellscape.
We are. Triple digits are on the way. So we've got a few of Neil's favorites, which is really cool. It's nice to tap into that mindset he possesses. Let's talk a little bit about what he thinks about base miles, aerobic development, and progression. What comes to mind when I say those types of things to you, Real Deal?
Well, I think that one thing that I think is true is that for aerobic development, really the answer is volume. And if you have the time, a big cardio block is an awesome thing to do. So when I say big cardio block, I mean lots of miles a week. And I also mean really no speed work, hill work, or treacherous trail work during that block. Because when you start having those really tough days, you start needing recovery days. and then you start losing your mileage. A recovery day is like a 3-mile day. You can't go and do a 9-mile recovery run. There's no such thing. So like if you're really like running threshold and stuff, that's awesome. There's a time and a place for that, but not in a cardio block or minimal, because you want to be able to come out day after day after day and throw down big miles like we experienced in December together. I was doing 15, 20 miles a day and coming back the next day and doing 20, 25 miles. And I felt great. I did not feel that much distress because I never really pushed the pace. So I never needed that muscle recovery. And it was just pure cardio development. And I think that was like huge for me. And I think if you have like a race that's like 6 months out that's important, I would almost say take 2 months and just do cardio. Maybe one speed day every 2 weeks max. And then just like after those 2 months, you've got that huge foundation, then start getting the threshold work and the race specific work because you're building on such a massive foundation then.
So if someone is running a marathon like next April that they've already committed to, it would be wise maybe in the fall to spend a couple of months just
I would say join the holiday hustle with me and Ross, and we'll take care of you. If you want to hang with me and Ross next December, man, we will take care of your cardio base.
If I can get a quarter of what you guys did in the month of December, I will be more than content.
I had like, I don't even know what the numbers were, steps, miles, the whole bit. So high.
Yeah.
So, and again, my baseline is not low. I usually average about 20,000 a day as far as steps. And it was 30,000 a day. I had a week with 39,000 a day.
Yeah.
And again, no significant discomfort or pain, except the one time I went out with Logan and Peter Hansen and ran 14 miles to Musty Buck and on the trails. And that almost derailed me because it was like so arduous. The next day I wanted a rest day. And that's the kind of thing that you don't want to be getting into if you're doing that big cardio block.
That's so fascinating because what transpired was like a absolutely crushing the Reading Marathon after the holiday hustle.
And I had done no threshold work, no race performance work, no hill work. And there's a pretty good sized hill in the middle of that Reading Marathon. And I didn't really suffer for lack of any of that. I think because my cardio was just really
developed.
Really, yeah, really about that was when I was having my 57 for my VO2 max, my elusive 57. So, and again, a huge cardio engine can paper over a lot of other deficits if you've got that going on.
It's good to know, man. That's awesome. How about training outside of running? One thing we know about the real deal here is that you've been working your feet out, a lot of mobility. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your feet and the kind of the exercises and maybe this device that you're using.
Sure. So I've got one of these footboards where you stand on it and it lets your big toe is on the board and the other toes are dropping through a hole in the board. And it really gets like your big toe connection to the rest of your foot, which a lot of people is underdeveloped, me included. You just can't put enough pressure down on your big toe. It's just not that strong. So that's helping to develop strength. I'm trying to get on my inner foot, which is a more secure place to be when you run because you twist your ankles less if you're running if your weight is landing on the inside of your foot. If your weight lands on the outside, it's already halfway to twisting. When you have any kind of uneven surface, it can really cause a lot of trouble. And, I still have some discomfort in my feet, even with the work that I do. But again, I'm at 20,000 steps a day. I'm doing all these crazy trails. I'm up in Upper Park. There's a lot of rocky trails up there. It's challenging terrain. And it's really, really, I also think that if you are working your feet as a cross train in your mobility, in your strength in your calves and in your ankles, when you go to increase mileage, there's that 5% rule or 10% rule we talk about when we're ramping up. But if you have crazy strong feet and ankles and you have a great lower chain, you can do 20% a week and you're not going to blow out your ankles and your calves because they're strong because you've trained them separately. So you're able to take on, escalate if you want to, a little bit faster if you've been strengthening separate.
I love the emphasis of the feet and the ankles. Back in April, I had a bit of a calf injury that, sidelined me for a whole 7 days, which, in the grand scheme of things is minimal time missed. But during that time, I committed to ankle mobility and foot strength and yoga, and it's made a massive difference already in just a month and a half. And the ankle mobility especially is huge.
And I think the other thing is ankle strengthening. I think a lot of times we think in terms of flexibility and mobility, and those things do matter.
Yeah.
Having range of motion does matter for healthy movement. But, and again, it is maybe one of the most annoying things you have to do is to get that stupid rubber band out and try to attach it to a chair leg and pull it in weird directions. Like it's awkward.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to do because it's all this redoing the setup.
Yeah.
But it's well worth it.
Yeah.
And if you can really get your ankles strong, if you're going out there next fall to run like the Bidwell Trail Classic, you're going to be running up Annie. You need ankles of steel to really cut loose and fly on those rocky terrains.
Yeah.
You need to know that your feet and your ankles are strong because you will have some uneven steps. And if it's just such an asset, especially when you're running trails. It's an essential thing. And I think also not to, drag you into the same category as me, but as you get a bit older,
100%.
these things become more important.
Totally.
I happen to have a friend who's like in his 20s, and I said, kid, if you woke up one day feeling the way I feel every day, you would call 911.
Yeah.
You would just call for an ambulance.
Yeah. Stuff hurts.
You'd be like, get down here.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what happened, sir? I don't know what happened. I'm in horrible pain.
Yeah.
You're experiencing life as a 55-year-old. So it's so different. And that's every day. And that's you just have to get over it and move forward, But you can do these things that make it better. And strengthening and mobility work is gigantic.
And the strength and mobility and stretching and yoga, so many of us, and when I say us, I mean me, we end our day, or we have times in our day where we're just sitting, watching TV, doing nothing. Like, why not just get up and stretch for 15 minutes or do some mobility for 15 minutes or do some ankle strength for 15 minutes while you're sitting there watching the Knicks lose.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
If you're like, again, half the time. Yeah, exactly. What, 40, unless you're following like the 85 Lakers, half the time your club's losing.
Yeah.
So
I'm a Kings fan and a Giants fan. I'm not familiar with
so you've
winning
done
right
some
now.
suffering. So for me, like what I do when I'm not running or whatever is like scroll the news.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's like a hate read.
Yeah.
Somebody's acting a fool and now I have to witness it and I'm responsible because we live in a democracy.
Yeah.
So I'd be better off just setting down that phone. So if I go do like half an hour of mobility, half an hour of strengthening and Epsom salt bath and whatever other thing, and I kill 2 hours with not looking at the news for 2 hours, that's huge for my mental health as well.
Yeah.
It just it clears your mind a little bit.
In fact, those of you who are listening to us right now, why don't you take the next 5 or 10 minutes, do a little stretching, do a little mobility. Yeah. We'll keep you company.
Just do the alphabet with your feet or whatever.
Yes.
That ankle piece.
I do that
every
day. I do that every day with both ankles, the alphabet. It's huge.
On a lighthearted note, have you filmed your feet exercises to check out your form?
I have not. And, I tend to think I'm probably dogging it. I give myself huge credit for even being willing to do that.
Hell yeah.
I don't even feel like I need to do it right. Like, even if I'm attempting to do it, I deserve some credit. You know what I mean?
Neil,
sure.
There's websites where you can make good money with videos like that.
I can.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Because I'm sure there are people making money. I heavily doubt. It's like it reminds me like when what's the website? Is it Tinder? Is that the one? Is that a dating site that came out about 15 years ago?
Sure.
And you swipe. It was the first swiping website, right?
Okay.
So I was in my mid 40s or so, and I was at a bar.
I like where this is going.
I was
the old Tinder story.
I was just at a bar with a friend of mine, and literally the guy says, "Oh, have you heard about Tinder?" So in walks a couple of guys who were like these real estate agents, and these guys only made money because they were good looking. Like a lot of real estate people, this real estate person is so great at real estate. They're actually really gigantically physically attractive, and people just want to buy a house from them. So these two guys fit that category. And the guy walks in and he's like, "Oh, I just downloaded this app. I dated like 7 women last week," or whatever. "What's it called?" "Oh, it's called Tinder." And I'm like, "Well, and so we're learning about it or whatever. And the kid explains, well, they look at you and they instantly decide if they want to be involved with you, and they swipe you to the right direction, and they just decide right away. My friend turns to me unironically and says, "Oh, Neil, you should get that website because you hear he had sex like 7 women last week." And I turned to my friend and said, "Didn't you hear? They look at one picture of you and instantly decide if they want to get with you. This 25-year-old real estate agent's experience is not going to be my experience. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to poor mouth it, man. Let's be realistic here." So, people are like, "Oh, Neil, you should get on something, have a channel, whatever." Like, have you seen these people? I mean, obviously not every one of them is, Lonnie Anderson, whatever. Intentionally retro reference. That's a joke.
Like, Neil, there's a handful of us that are going to get that, and there's some that are going to be like, what does that even mean?
Retro reference intended as a joke. Those of you who don't know my style. But yeah, you just got to stay in your lane.
Strava's more your scene.
Maybe so, yeah.
I don't even know how to transition out of this.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah.
I guess maybe you could say that, if you get to know her a little bit more, she'll realize that you've got a tremendous running battery over this 25-year-old real estate.
That's the thing. I need to get It reminds me, I'm trying to decide if this is too tacky for your show.
Nothing is too tacky for our show.
It's not.
There used to be this show on HBO on like Saturday nights at 11 o'clock where they had it was like a news program, but it was all like risque topics or whatever. And they were at a brothel in Nevada. And the woman was explaining, like, there's a lineup thing where you just line up and a guy picks you out of the lineup when he first walks in the joint. Or you can do the thing where you hang out at a bar and chit chat for half an hour and they can decide if they want to go upstairs with you. These are the two ways of. And I definitely need to be in the bar with the chit chat. I definitely feel like that's the right venue for me. I don't want to be in the lineup brothel, like waving, "Hello, hi. Am I the best looking person in this lineup?" That's not comfortable for me. That would be awkward. So buy me a drink first.
You got to wine and dine, Neil.
Exactly.
Again, I don't know how to transition out of this.
What are our topics?
It's so good. It's so good. I got one. How about what's your dream race?
Yeah. So you mean like an event that I would look forward to participating in that's like on a list, like a named event? Like
which is kind of interesting now because you had mentioned earlier that you like to run the local races or you don't envision many.
I almost feel as if, I have two possibilities. And so first, what's my criteria? I do want it to be local. And I want it to have a lot of people in it I know. Mm-hmm. And here's the reason why. I go to these local races, Reading, Round, and let's say I win. My age group, and there's like 15 people in it. Or there's 20. Well, who are those 15 or 20 people? Like you could imagine some year 50 people join because it's like middle-aged bucket list for completion marathon year. Mm-hmm. And I beat 65 people instead of the 15. Or you could imagine it's like the national qualifier for middle-aged, and I finished 51st out of 65 people because they're all awesome. I have no idea who these other runners are and what they're really trying and what they're trying to accomplish. I know what you guys are trying to accomplish. I know who Billy Harkness is as a runner, or Bill Parnell, or Niemeyer, or Logan. Of course, some of these people I'm not going to beat, but I kind of know where I stand in relation to them. And it makes how I finish in relation to them meaningful because I know, have they been training or not? Do they care about this race or not? Is this their distance or not? And so there's a lot of like useful information to me in those comparisons, and that makes those comparisons more fun. I'd love to have a year-over-year comparison in a race. So in some ways, I think my dream race, or may have already happened, was the Bidwell Classic this past spring. When you ran the 10K, Katie Crane was there, Logan was there, other people were involved, and I ran a 1:28 half marathon.
Dude, you smashed.
I felt awesome from beginning to end. I felt like my form was great. Paul Smith complimented my form at the end of the race, which is gigantically gratifying to me.
Yes.
And other runners were there, and I knew how they knew what I was doing, and it felt really good. The other thing that maybe would be a dream race is the Colby Mountain TrailFest. If enough people come out for that 24K in September, maybe it's not in 26, but in 27. If I run it this year and then come back in 27 and more people know about it and clear up their Labor Day weekend to participate. But that kind of, I can sleep in my own bed, drive up the mountain, have an awesome race, hang out with some good friends, Hopefully everybody runs good and runs healthy. And that kind of thing to me is like the ideal race. Like that's what I envision as like a perfect day, like a perfect race day.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that with how successful you are as a runner, how you're thinking about this scientifically, the strides that you have made, there's potential out there for you to literally like win some races. You know, like maybe some trail runs in Folsom, maybe some, you know, runs nearby that like I think you could crush, dude.
Maybe my long-term future is in ultra running.
Nice.
You know, of course I can run. I do, and I hope it's this year. I want to go under 40 in the 10K. I want to go under 19 in the 5K. If I could get under 3 one time in the marathon, that would be amazing. I kind of have that CIM kind of in my sights for that attempt. But, you know, realistically, I want to take it as it comes, and I want to like be the best runner I can be at this point. And I tend to think that like 5Ks and some of these power runs and the kind of running where like showing up the way Peter Hansen shows up is not going to be my future. But I do think that the ultra running piece, I could really do some damage as like a master runner at those distances. Really maybe like go live for 6 months up at like Butte Meadows and try to like get to altitude and try to like, you know, really crush it with some sky running or something like that. So yeah, there's a lot of other really great possibilities. But again, I like to keep it close to home as much as possible. And I'm only going to travel if it's like someone actually says like, well, we really want to see you there. Like that would have to almost be like the motivation to cross state lines or to get in a plane to go through a race.
That's awesome. Speaking of an ultra run, you got a big one coming up, Headwaters 52K.
I do, and that I almost like am pissed off about it because like Logan's like, oh, I'm going to go do this race. It's called Headwaters or whatever. And then he decided to have a kid instead or whatever, which is fine. It's a reasonable choice on his part. God bless. He bailed. So I'm kind of like the bag holder on this race. A bunch of people have decided to also do it, but I'm like, this is 8,000. I looked at the elevation profile because you asked me what I knew about the race, and I had to say like nothing when I talked to you on Sunday. I looked at it yesterday, man. This is straight up a hill from 5,000 feet to 9,000. It's continuously uphill on the elevation profile. You're not literally running up that hill profile. You may be doing switchbacks along the way.
Let's
but
hope.
It's a dead climb for 4,000 feet.
Dang.
And it's constant. There's no down. The first 10 miles or so is a little ups and downs. It's like a rolling climb. The first 3,000 feet up. But that last 5,000 is all in one big bite. So it's going to be gnarly. And all I can say is my hill score has gone up to a 78 in Garmin. I pray they know what they're talking about when they give me that 78, up from like a 52 a month ago.
Wow.
Nice.
That's so nice.
So running with you up there, running rim to rim to rim, running hill sprints in Humboldt. I hope it's been paying off, and I hope I can just like get down to the bottom of that hill without like my quads giving out on me on the downhill. Because once you get up there, you're exhausted. Now you got to like take that beating on the way down too. So, you know, I'm targeting like respectability, hanging with like a good group of runners, trying to finish like where I think I belong, but I have no idea what the time will be on that race.
Yeah, with that kind of climb
is a good time like
elevation.
6.5 hours? Is a good time 7.5 hours? I know the cutoff is 11 hours. I'm very optimistic I'll make that, but I have no idea of like what kind of time I'm going to be able to put up on that kind of climbing. We'll see.
Have you seen the videos that have been surfacing lately where people are setting the treadmill up like to a super high incline, turning around, and then running it?
Yeah, downhill.
Downhill, and they're
In
working
reverse?
in reverse, like their quads and working their calves. It's quite fascinating. I've seen a lot of them the last like week or so.
Yeah.
Matt Henderson was talking about it too today when we were running.
That's interesting because
Yeah.
I wonder. So what I would say about downhill running, you really have to have good running. I know it's lame, but if you have your feet out in front of you, if you project your feet out in front of you, you're hitting the brakes on a downhill, and you've got a longer drop, and the forces are nasty on your legs. Not calves, not so much, but quads.
Quads, man.
But if you can get your feet under you, and get, quick step, get out there and really not hit the brakes too much, you can do a lot of good business running downhill with less stress on your quads. So really, it almost feels like you've got to really work on technique. Like downhill running is technique practice. And if you're not going to work on technique that day because you just don't have the head for it, you're better off going slow. So I would say go up Humboldt as fast as you can. Ease yourself down. Unless you're going to work on technique, don't try running fast downhill. To me, it's not productive. I think it's a mistake. It's just a lot of distress on your muscles. And you've got to and the other thing I would say, and this is something I had hoped to work in at some point, is the best day to work on your running form is every day. And
any day that ends in Y.
In particular, recovery runs. If you're not going to run hard and you're like, oh, this run is a waste. It's only 3 miles. It's stupid.
No run is a
3
waste.
3 miles, which will take you at 9-minute miles, maybe 27 minutes. That may be the maximum amount of time you can keep your head wrapped around good running thoughts before you drift. That could be a time when you could literally go out I'm going to raise my arms and have great arm action and keep it going for the whole run. And that's the beauty of a 3-mile run at a moderate pace in Lower Park on Peterson, where you're not going to stumble because it's well paved. South Park Drive is getting there this summer.
That's right.
And you're oh, this waist run is only 27 minutes. It's so slow. If you can really be practicing technique and form, you can really walk away from those runs feeling like you're making progress. And that's the beauty of the form project.
I think something that's interesting that just occurred to me is the lock-in, the mental focus that you have. If you're literally running for 27 minutes and you are able to keep your arms doing something you want them to do without the drift, that's something that I need a ton of work on. My mind drifts. I start thinking about the day, or I start thinking about something I need to take care of. It's hard to stay focused and locked in. And I get the sense that you're locked in when you're running.
Everybody has ups and downs, right? So what I try to do is I come out with good focus and strong at the outset, right? I start out. I go for really, it's the first mile, let's say. I shut off auto lap. I don't hit the auto lap for every mile. So I only get laps when I hit the button. So I go a certain point. And if I feel like I've put in a really good session of 10, 15 minutes, I hit that lap button. That was a good one. Then I keep going. Of course, I try to maintain. But if I have a drifty session, I found myself drifting for 5 minutes, I hit the lap button and refocus. Then when I get home, I'm how did that first lap look? How did that second drifting lap look? And how did the last one when I refocused look? And see if there's any difference. And, sometimes the differences are fairly small. But usually I can tell there's a positive difference when I'm locked in. And it helps to remind me that it does matter. These thoughts are making a difference. So even if I have a lousy mile in the middle, that's useful information because it gives me that comparison. It gives me, that's my baseline. That's my not thinking about it mile. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even if I'm not having 27 great minutes, I'm just 9 good, 9 off, 9 okay, I'm learning from it.
Yeah, I think too, that's a cool strategy where you're in control of, logging the laps or whatever. I think that's a tangible way of resetting too, right? Because a lot of times, through all of our walks of life, not just running or working out, but we try to do these resets, right? Oh man, I'm just totally distracted at work. I need to reset and lock back in. And having something tangible that acknowledges, okay, it's time to lock back in, I think is notable.
And also sometimes you're running up Humboldt. Mm-hmm. You get to the top, you hit the lap button.
Yeah.
You're running down is completely different.
Yeah.
Why would you want all of that in one big chunk of info? Mm-hmm. It's 2 completely different things. So I try to have this is the hilly segment. This is the flat segment. Mm-hmm. This is the up. This is the down. However, because again, it's not all the same thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to subtly change your attitude, your arm action, whatever it is. You've got to go by rate of perceived exertion and, or you try to maintain the same cadence, but shorten your steps on it, whatever the thing is. Mm-hmm. But that tangible hitting the button and kind of saying, new thing is kind of, it's good for transitions as well.
Yeah.
Incredible. I love the training and the science behind what's led to you being so consistent and locked in.
It's definitely insightful for me.
Well, and it makes all the runs intentional. It's not just like, well,
True.
I'm just going to go out and run because it's my day that I run, so I'm just going to go run. It's having a plan and knowing what you're trying to accomplish. Because you said like 3 miles. Oh, it's just 3 miles. Well, we want to get away from it's just any amount of miles, right?
Yeah.
Because they're all significant. Don't diminish what's going to come in those miles. So I think having that intention is really, again, notable.
And I think the other thing is like, and this is the thing that I think that people sometimes do that they don't need to do, is to try to like focus on the weekly total and try to grab extra miles on recovery days. Like, or try to grab an extra cool down mile after a hard workout or something to get, because like I want my weekly total to be this. If it's a recovery day, you literally have to like not exert yourself to the point where it interferes with recovery, which means, Rana and these people tell you, just run for 3 miles, just run for 22 minutes, just run it at a 118 heart rate or whatever, just run it at this crazy slow pace. And if you're like, no, man, I'm better than that, you're not getting your recovery.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose.
It does defeat the purpose. And I think having like a way of valuing it, and again, if you're really working on changing your running form, every run at every pace is like an opportunity to kind of like, do something with that replaces the need to like get that extra mile or go faster because you feel like you're not working hard enough to get adaptations. And I think that it just like, again, for me, it's like hard to run 2 or 3 miles. I always want to just do the 6.
Yeah.
I always want to do the full lower park loop. I never want to do the half loop.
Yeah. I'm already
And
here.
it's
I
like,
might as well.
Yeah. I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I've got to go in. I'm out. I have to launder these clothes now. So I might as well get like a full run out of it or whatever. So, I think it's good to respect the rest too.
Well, and I think also, like saying I'm only doing 3 because that's what the training plan says. That's also building in the discipline mentally that you're going to need when it comes time for the longer, harder runs or for race day, knowing that you have the discipline to stick to the plan. So I think that's another important thing to consider.
One other thing
too.
I think, if you're only going to do like 3 miles, you can go home and do a core workout.
Totally.
You can go do these things.
Mobility.
That are like not your favorite thing.
Yeah.
And like, I remember when I used to go to the gym and I was lifting weights a lot and I weighed like 175. So I was putting a lot of more weight. I was a bigger guy. I was in my late 20s. I wanted to be a bigger guy. Occasionally I would see people doing like jazzercise or whatever they're doing, Zumba. And I'd be like, those people are nuts. So, a couple of years ago when I was in Motion Fitness, I got in the habit of like once every week or two walking into a class that was like the exact opposite of where you would expect to find me. Anything involving movement, anything where I was the only guy in the room, anything requiring flexibility, which is not my strong suit. I can reach about an inch below my knees with my tight hamstring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bar, whatever, some craziness. And like someone asked me, like, why would you want to do these things? And I'm like, every day as a teacher, I tell these kids who are math phobic, these 9th grade algebra kids, to do this thing that they are not comfortable doing and it's awkward for them and it's hard. How can I ask them to do that if I'm not willing to do a bar class? I mean, like,
if you
I have to
can't
come
get
out of my comfort
uncomfortable,
zone.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's only by doing what you're not good at and coming out of your comfort zone that you really make progress. You're not going to attack your limiting factor, your major constraint by doing your favorite stuff.
Yeah.
Chances are your constraint is that thing that you're bad at.
Yeah.
That thing that you look bad when you do it. And you have to let go of the ego a little bit and kind of like look foolish if you want to get better. And like do that thing where like it's a little bit of stumbling. If you have to get on your bad foot and try to do balance, you're going to look like a jerk.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Guess what?
You're working on, that's the thing that you're weak at.
Exactly.
It's,
and in a month you won't.
And you're working at it because it's a weakness. Yeah, and of course. And again, that's where the huge gains are. That's where the low-hanging fruit is. That's where that feeling of like progressing is, like when you tackle a weakness and bring it up to par. I can't really do much to like, I can't bring my VO2 max up by 10 points.
No.
But I can find that thing. I could probably go from reaching an inch below my knee to reaching halfway down my shin with flexibility. And that would be ginormous.
Yeah.
That would be the equivalent of like 10 points of VO2 max.
Yeah.
That's available right now.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm willing to do something that kind of sucks.
Neil, this is the exact conversation that I was having yesterday with my daughter who started her cross-country summer training. Yesterday was day one, so she's working on building the big aerobic base this summer. And one of the things that I said to her was, you know, like, you just got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Whether it's doing these runs that you don't really want to do or doing some strength training that we want you to do as well. You have to get uncomfortable with that, because that's what's going to separate you down the line. That's what's going to make these races you run easier. It's going to help the success. Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
And I think that's another
physically
thing.
And emotionally.
Yeah. And the other thing is, this is just something that's true of a lot of runners. You know, they say like, oh, I ran really hard and I did my best run. Nobody does their best run. Nobody gives 100%. 100% means you drop dead.
Yeah.
Only animals are even capable of giving 100% when they're fighting one another to the death, and they sometimes will die of exhaustion before their enemy can get them. Humans will shut it down about 80% for safety. We have a safety margin at the top.
Yeah.
So nobody's given 100%. And a lot of people aren't even given 60%. You look at their numbers, and they're in like zone 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude,
there's more.
You ran as fast as you could, and you only, you know, unless your max heart rate is way off, which is conceivable.
Sure.
You know, but people like, they get a little sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
They start breathing hard. That's it. They're done.
Yeah. Ew,
and it's like, you can go beyond that.
Yeah.
And
you can do that for another hour.
And the other thing is, it's like, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's like, once you start doing well, it just becomes fun. It becomes kind of like addictive.
Yeah.
And of course, there's that little irrationality in it where you're taking race results seriously in these local, you know, what do they mean and what is the exact meaning. You got to kind of like, it's like being a fan of any sport.
Yeah. Temper your expectations.
Well, not just that, but also like embrace irrational joy at things that are objectively maybe not that meaningful. So for example, in 2021, the Red Sox won the World Series, right? So what? Did I win the World Series? Was I on the field? All these things that like non-sports fans will say, like you're an idiot. You just got to put that aside, you know, and just live in the moment, just embrace it and have fun with it. You know, set that car on fire, you know, have that riot. It's been 100 years since we won the World Series. So like when you win a local race and you're like, oh, so awesome, I won this. And then you're like, of course, these thoughts, well, it's a local race. Who knows who else was in there? But like, just have fun with it, man.
It goes back to diminishing what you've accomplished. And like, there's nothing.
Yeah, you got to get that naysayer voice.
Nothing good comes from that. Be proud of what you've done.
Yeah, and just kind of embrace it and like, just let yourself be a little irrational.
Yeah.
You don't have to always have the, you know, the scientist hat on or whatever.
Yeah. I act like you've been there. That attitude, like, no, I haven't been here. I've never won something like this before.
Yeah, act like you've been there is a good way to stay chill on the run up.
Yeah.
But once you've won the thing, lose your mind.
Yeah.
You know, don't keep perspective.
Yeah.
To the point where you're like sucking the joy out of it.
Yeah. Lose it for a few. Are we ready for Professor Neil?
I think we are ready for Professor Neil.
Okay. Professor Neil.
This is a fun, lighter segment where Neil gets to lean into his teacher identity. We were thinking about ways to make this podcast a little different than previous ones and to kind of tap into, you know, what Neil's about, obviously, as a teacher. These pop quiz questions we have are not going to conflict with Peter's rapid fire questions at the end. So don't you worry. We've got those as well, but they are still rapid fire. Pete, what do we got for pop quiz question number 1?
Question number 1, Neil. What's one running concept most people misunderstand, and what's the simplest way to explain it correctly?
So I'm going to kind of revisit one, but probably the concept that I'm going to choose is just forefoot, midfoot, and heel striking.
Mm-hmm.
And people tend to think that you're a better runner if you're landing on the forefoot, and that's not entirely true. Even elite marathoners, the first thing that touches the ground is the heel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. They're elite marathoners. They're running 2:05 in a marathon. So what does matter is where your foot is in relation to your body. Like I said earlier, it's got to be under your center of body mass. Once it's under your body, you can let it land wherever your foot wants, the way your foot wants to land, and you will not have excessive braking forces.
Mm-hmm.
So don't worry about that heel strike. The other thing is, just because your heel touches the ground, it doesn't mean that's what's contacting the ground when your weight hits the foot. So it's kind of a semantic thing. What does it mean to land? Does it mean to touch the ground or put your weight on it? And that all sorts itself out. Just get that foot under your body and don't worry about where your foot is landing, on your foot, on the surface of the sole of your shoe.
Keep your feet under you.
Keep your feet right under you.
Unless you're the form.
In which you're floating.
Which is kind of what you said, like for most people.
Yeah.
Like the vast majority.
So I would say Peter runs like a middle distance runner with that 4 foot on, he's very much a 4 foot runner.
Yeah.
For middle distance runners and faster, that's essential. For longer distance runners, it's optional.
Yeah.
But the main thing you'll see with him is that his feet are under him and is ready to push off and just bound forward.
Yeah. I've said it before. You
Nice,
guys,
good call.
You guys see that guy play basketball. Question number 2, Ross.
Okay, hey, I got it. If you could give every new runner one rule to follow for the rest of their running life, what would it be?
Tree is not pavement. Keep your eyes up. Keep your eyes forward. And if you do this, and again, don't overdo it. Don't get ramrod straight like you're a private and a 5-star general just walked in the room, but get your head up comfortably in a relaxed way, but be looking out. Not only will you improve your running form, your efficiency and all that, you make a lot of new friends. When I started looking up, people started waving hello to me at the park. I'm like, I'm so much more popular now. Well, before I was staring at my shoes. They thought I was like some angry loner. Now I'm looking around and suddenly I'm meeting and greeting folks. So get your head up when you're running.
That's because everybody wants to know the real deal.
The real deal.
Come on. Number 3, what do you got, Pete?
All right, final question. What's a training habit runners obsess over that actually matters way less than they think?
Probably trying to like strictly adhere to zones. I think that if you have cardiac drift, let's say, and your heart rate rises up 10 beats and all of a sudden you're like, oh no, I'm in the garbage mile zone instead of zone 2. That's probably not true. You're probably getting some good cardio stimulus and some adaptations there, even if you go a little higher, a little lower. So if you're feeling good, and even if the heart rate and the watch, especially if you're just relying on the watch heart rate, which can be a little bit off at times, just go with it and just feel good and just go out and have your run. And don't obsess too much about heart rate zones. As long as you're getting some variety during the week, if that's what you want, or as long as you're like approximately where you want to be, it's all good.
Nice. Thank you for the sage advice. Neil's got all the wisdom.
Sage Neil.
Now we're going to assign some homework from Professor Neil here. What's one piece of homework you want to assign to our listeners this week? Something small, doable, and guaranteed to make them a better runner.
I've already talked about videoing yourself and making sure you like the way you look. If you've already got your eyes to the horizon, you're seeing those trees, I would ask you to try to change your arm action. Get your arms higher, almost always. Get sharper elbows, not at 90 degrees, much sharper than 90, maybe 50, 60 degrees. And keep your hands close to your torso. Don't let them drift out in front of you. You should go from your waist to your heart. Waist to heart, your hand. Nice and tight, right in front of your body. And if you do that, it will subtly increase your cadence without any weird foot stuff. So just get those arms moving in that way with a nice high center of gravity, and you'll get your cadence increased just enough so it's getting better. And it should improve your running and should also help to keep your feet under you. And I would say, and do this again, get oily shoulders. When I say oily shoulders, I mean swing those arms. Do not twist your torso. Use that Barbie joint in your shoulder. Imagine you've got like a rigid plastic midsection. You can't twist your torso. You can only move your hand. There you go. There you go. Rigid torso, arm swing. That's great. That's beautiful. And don't do this.
Yeah.
Because this is unhealthy.
Action.
And like you basically, the hands are like, my hands are not moving at all in relation to my rib cage, but I'm moving back and forth. And when that shoulder comes forward, this hip comes back, this foot goes out, you slam the brakes. So again, all I'm saying is do not throw that shoulder forward with a twist, because it will throw the other corresponding hip back. Get your foot in front of you. It's braking action. It's bad news.
Leaking energy.
Get those shoulder joints going and get those arms swinging up nice and high. Shorten that metronome. Tick, 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 back and forth. And I think you'll be happier as a runner. You'll just feel better.
I'm going to get some olive oil and rub them on my shoulders.
It's a good idea.
I meant like Tin Man oily shoulders, but yeah.
I think that
exactly. You're like Donald Trump wants to like shine a light inside someone's bloodstream.
You're not ever gonna.
So like, again, I just mean metaphorically speaking, of course, but yeah, get those arms swinging, and just have fun out there.
That's awesome, Neil.
And also,
Thanks.
I think rubbing olive oil on your skin was like a trend in like the 70s or 80s to help you tan.
Oh, you know what it actually is though? It is for elite runners who are in freezing cold conditions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They put olive oil just
Trap
to
some heat?
the wind for the wind effect, for like wind chill. And you
Does
don't
it
have to,
help with nipple chafing?
it just means you don't have to put on an extra layer of clothing, so it helps you run light, but
Yeah.
also not freeze to death.
Oh.
Allegedly, it's like an old school way of addressing that.
You should try that this winter.
Oil up.
Yeah.
Should it be the olive oil? Or should I go right for the Wesson?
Do you do like half down each side and see which one is more?
The olive oil is
responsive?
going to be
You know
much
what?
more expensive.
I'm going to start doing hybrid events, running, and then an old-fashioned bodybuilding pose down at the end.
Oh man.
And that's where the olive oil will really shine, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
I just need to get some people with whom I can compete.
Logan,
Again,
Matt Henderson.
Yeah.
I think it's
Frank did some bodybuilding at one point, so there we go.
What about the kid Matt?
Yeah,
He's got
Matt.
a lot of Strava posts that suggested he would be down. The kid who bakes.
Oh, Matthias.
Yes.
Matthias. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
believe that. Yeah. That guy's been putting
Shout
in
out
some,
Matthias, man.
Matthias has been putting in some work down in the
Yes.
Bay Area.
He
this
has,
summer.
yeah. He's
I'm-
got a fine runner. He's got a bright future of running if he wants it. Yeah.
He's-
I'm
he's
excited to
fast.
see him when he gets back into town for sure.
I'm excited to have some bread as well.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Put some olive oil on that with a little garlic and a little balsamic.
Now
huh?
we're talking.
Hey.
Maybe some burrata.
Oily
Okay.
shoulders, people. Oily shoulders.
All right, you've got your homework assignment, Ross, and everyone listening. Get those arms swinging properly.
Hey, class dismissed. Thank you, Professor Neil.
Thank you, Mr. Neil.
Mr. Neil.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's been a really enjoyable conversation. I hope we got something. We got something recorded that people want to listen to.
This has been gold. And we're not even done yet.
we're not
Neil,
done.
so
We got one more segment.
keep
All
your
right, let's
oily
do it.
shoulders in that chair there, bud.
Yeah, it's time for my fun rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So some of these maybe you have touched on already, but that's okay. First question: favorite place to run? Whether it's a specific trail, specific race. What's your favorite?
I'm going to just say it's Lower Park.
Okay.
I know it really, really well. I like that it's a flat track. It is pretty.
Mm-hmm. It's about to get way better too.
And I like going home and like, you've run this 27 times. This was a little bit faster. And that kind of thing, I get jazzed about that kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
unreasonably, but that's the kind of thing that excites me. So.
Most definitely.
Oh, also I had like 40. I was a local legend with like 40 on a segment in Lower Park, and the next person was like 12.
Hey.
And I just felt like I'm going to be a local legend for a long time.
Yeah.
So that was a positive thing for me.
Well, you're a local legend for more than just that.
Absolutely.
Okay, next question. When you're out doing your solo runs, whether it's a short recovery run or one of your hellacious back-to-back 25-mile days during the holiday hustle, are you running with headphones on, listening to something, or are you all natural, raw dogging it with your thoughts?
Always with my thoughts. If you see me with headphones in, I'm listening to an audio lesson for running form.
Okay, and you're probably walking at that point.
No, I actually have to listen and implement as
Okay.
they talk me through the run.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So if you guys see Neil running with headphones on, he's in the middle of a lesson, wave and keep going. He's working
don't
on
stop
something.
me. But that always applies. I'm pleased. My running is so serious. I can't be interrupted by the fans. Please save it for a post run. But
he'll sign a shoe for you later.
I've never, even on the treadmill, under any circumstance, I just prefer to be with my thoughts.
Okay.
I like that you just mentioned walking, though.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing we haven't really touched on, and maybe briefly.
Yeah.
Neil, you spend a lot of time
lot of
walking.
time.
I do.
And it's good recovery for you?
It is good recovery for me. It is low impact. I do appreciate the calorie burn, especially on light running days, because I like to eat whatever I want with impunity.
Box of Cheez-Its,
Cheez-Its, baby.
Kind of Haagen-Dazs, whatever it is. The other day I had like
What's your flavor?
Frozen.
anything.
Anything?
But I usually go with like a berry, like a strawberry or raspberry
Ooh,
or some
yum.
kind of like sour thing. But the other thing about walking is, your walking form can get better. Like my number one form issue is posture. And I need to work on that at my desk, in the kitchen, when I'm walking. And I really try to like get the eyes up. But my new thing is not to get too rigid. And this is one thing I'm going to say about your shoulders and your chest. If you have crummy, collapsed posture and your shoulders are way forward,
Guilty.
it's hard to take a deep breath. If you put your chest all the way forward and draw your shoulders back, it's also hard to take a deep breath.
Busted.
You need to get those shoulders in a neutral place where you can take a nice, natural, deep breath. If I was going to emulate one runner, it would be Noah.
Yeah,
when
dude.
Noah runs, it doesn't look like he's doing anything that magical. It's all kind of average. It's relaxed, but he has something very good going on with his running form, and it is relaxed, and he is able to take a deep breath. So if you're ever wondering if your shoulders are too far forward, try to take your deepest possible breath. If it feels good, then that means your shoulders are where they belong. If you can't really get that full breath, they're either too far forward or too far back.
It's probably a good thing this isn't a video podcast, because it would be really awkward for people to see Ross and I sitting here trying to take deep breaths properly and not.
But do you feel that though? Do you feel with your shoulders back that it's hard?
No, my shoulders are too oily, Neil.
Yeah.
Come on. Can you verify that for me? Is that true or not true? Can you get those?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you get those shoulders, and
Especially
again,
the curled
and
in.
that's how you want to run. You don't want to overcorrect. Overcorrection is a huge problem when you're trying to make good changes. If people can go, oh my God, you changed that thing, probably you overcooked it. You don't want it to be so gigantically obvious that any idiot can see it who's not even trying to see it. You want it to be subtle enough that you're not taking it in the other direction too far.
Very good.
I love it.
Okay, got another one for you.
All right.
What is the best piece of running advice you've ever received?
Best piece of running advice I have ever received. Because I've been doing these Fleet Feet programs, hanging out with the BRC people. I would say that if I was going to do one thing to make myself happier, if I wanted to become a happy person, which I'm not saying I don't want that, but I would probably want to emulate Tom and Ursula. Their attitude to life, to me, is really inspiring. I just feel like they've got such a wonderful relationship, which is a very enviable thing. But also, they travel. And they always have so much fun when they travel. And they always love what they're doing. And they get out and run, and they really enjoy the fact that they've gotten out and run. They just have great gratitude about the opportunities they have, great joy in running. I just need to follow that example more. And I think if I did that, probably I might even just take it down a notch performance-wise, because maybe my neuroses are propping up my performance. But I think that I would just be just a little calmer. And then I could really expand on the things that you guys have said you appreciate when you're thinking of others, being a kindly intentioned person and so on, and just feature that so much more. If I could just get out of my head a little bit about the next PR or my cadence or my ground contact time. So maybe just injecting a little bit more of a sense of what's magical about life. And I think those two characters are really fine examples in that regard.
We could all be a little bit more like Tom and Ursula.
Yeah.
Shout out Tom and Ursula. Well said.
They rock.
Yeah.
It's an obligatory, we have to give them a they rock.
Totally.
All right, next question. You've got someone, a friend of yours, maybe a colleague in teaching, maybe an old friend that you run into who's Neil, I see you're doing all this running. I want to start running. What's the first thing you're going to tell this person as they start their running journey? The very first thing you want to tell them to keep in mind as they're running?
I would say, and I say this all the time to people who are starting golfers too, get the form down before you practice the wrong thing for years in ingrained bad habits. Try to get those sound habits down early, because it's the kind of thing you think of doing when you're years in and you're looking to break through that ceiling. And by then you've already grooved some, potentially gnarly stuff, which was my situation. Be aware of that form piece. And I would also say there's probably not that much magic in this season's shoes. So try not to chase the marketing, because all my gains have been, related to hard work and thinking it through, more so than any fixes. God bless those Nike Alpha, I remember well in the Alpha Flies, and I probably feel good about that purchase.
Yeah.
But I've also spent a bunch of money that I'm why did I spend that money?
Yeah.
It's foolish. So, try to and that's just my general chintzy advice. Just try to take it down a notch consumerism wise and expand on the human relation side.
Sage Sage Neal.
I love the shoes though.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh,
I can't,
man, I love the
listen,
shoes.
How do you
Don't
turn
even
running
start.
into a gear sport? I mean, it's like you only have like one thing to get, and now I have like 12 of them.
Yeah. Well, the science says you shouldn't run in the same shoes every day. It's good for your feet.
No,
to
you
have
gotta
different
switch
shoes.
them, yeah.
So that's how you justify it. Not that I'm going to do it anyway. So I
That
like shoes.
horrifying payload of 139 pounds
Yeah.
going out at an 840 mile pace for 3 miles. I can't wear those shoes the next day.
139
They're
pounds.
trash,
I think that was
man.
like
those
8th
shoes
grade.
need a rest.
Yeah.
Those shoes need recovery. Yeah.
All right. And one final question in the rapid fire here. You just finished a long run on a Sunday. It went just the way you wanted it to. You're feeling good about it. But now it's time to eat.
Okay.
What are you going for?
I did that just on Sunday.
I know
Ross
you
and I
did.
went out and we did like 15 miles. It was a tough run.
I know after we went to Mount Lassen and we went to Bud's Jolly Cone, you housed a couple of burgers like it was no big deal. I think we all housed a couple burgers like it was no big deal because that was a big climbing day.
Yeah, that was a fun one. It was this.
6 eggs.
6
eggs.
6 eggs on, usually half a bag of cheese.
Half a bag of cheese.
Yeah.
Well, good thing you're not lactose intolerant.
No, and I'm not too fearful of cholesterol or too calorie phobic. But yeah, I like to eat a huge egg omelet, as many as I have left in the box. And
what else do you put? Do you put anything like any hot sauce or
avocado?
I think in that omelet, I actually had some leftover asparagus, which is not that amazing of a thing to add, but I'm like, ooh, a vegetable.
Yeah.
And then
it's fiber.
I did throw some hot sauce on there.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta have the hot sauce. I know. I was with you guys on that for part of that long run.
Yeah,
and,
you were.
And I dipped off, and Lisa finished about the same time, and I was like, we need to go out to breakfast. Like, I'm not making anything this morning. So we went to Mom's, saw Karen Weintraub.
Shout out Karen.
Shout out Karen.
Future pod guest.
And yeah, I took down a bunch of eggs as well with all kinds of hot sauce and their ham hash, which, by the way, if you haven't had the ham hash at Mom's, do yourself a favor. Swap out your breakfast potatoes for the ham hash. It is a
good upgrade.
Oh, yes. It's ham and potatoes and cheese and onions, and it's glorious.
Good to know.
Because we're not afraid of cholesterol or cheese.
Well, I mean,
we're runners.
We're runners.
You burn a lot of that stuff off.
Yeah.
You really do if you run. It's not, the perfect solution to everything.
No.
But
that's why you can eat boxes of Cheez-Its whenever you want to.
Pretty much.
Neil, that might have been the funniest thing you've ever said to me.
That was fun.
I just ate, I'm going to go home and eat a box of Cheez-Its.
Well, once you open the box, there's a risk that they'll go back in the cabinet and go stale. It's like, to me, like once you get the Haagen-Dazs and you put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, it's like to get those melted edges. They're going to refreeze weird.
Yeah.
Just go back in the fridge.
You might as well just eat it.
Eat it. Just polish it off.
Yeah. Neil, I've learned a lot about running, but I think the life lessons today, like why would I put the Cheez-Its back? They might go stale. Why would I put the half-eaten ice cream back? It's going to refreeze funky. Like that's the kind of stuff that, like, you should write a book. And you think I'm going to say write a book about running, but no, I'm going to say sage life advice from Neil. Like
I remember when I was like 8, and my dad was divorced and lived in town in Boston, and we used to go to this fancy ice cream joint, and the ice cream was like $4 or something crazy at the time. And one time my aunt was in town, and she's like, well, let's get ice cream. I was like, there's a place up the street. My dad takes me there. He's like one of these divorced dads with a little bit too much income and he's willing to spend it. He only sees us once a week, whatever. So we go to the top of the street at the ice cream joint, and my Aunt Kathy sees the prices and she like blanches. Of course, later on, that woman would go on to like stay at the Four Seasons and tell me the Four Seasons was a nice hotel. Like I was supposed to be surprised. But back then she was still chiseling. She was still like trying to get there. Oh my God, $4. I said, listen, I was like 8 years old. I said, you can't take it with you when you die. So supposedly that is what they said in their family for the next 20 years. Whenever there was a big purchase or somebody wanted a sweater for too much money, you can't take it with. And it's still true today.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't take it with you when you die.
So buy the running shoes.
Buy the running shoes.
Eat the Cheez-Its. You can't take those with you.
No, and when you're 90 years old and you have to go into a rest home, you're going to be so out of it, it will be okay if it's a Medicaid paid facility. It's not going to be that nice, but you're not going to really know what's going on anyway. So who cares? It's fine. Let the government pick up the tab.
Perspective.
Let them stick you in that shabby joint. Enjoy it now. Enjoy these years. These are the ones you want to enjoy. These are the good years.
Chase PRs now.
Nice. Well
Chase
played,
PRs now.
You're never going to be any younger than you are right now.
That's right. Oh, Neil.
Rock a couple different articles of 2026 Boston Marathon swag. A couple jackets.
Just get both of them.
Oh, yeah, the 2 jackets. I got the 2 jackets. I got the right colors, the standard color T-shirt, and then I got this weird black T-shirt that was cool, I thought. Yeah, I mean, you only go around, obviously I might go back to Boston, so I guess maybe I will go around twice. But at the time, yeah, this could be it.
Yeah.
First time in Boston, maybe the last. Might as well take advantage.
Thomas Parker did something similar. He got all the Boston gear, and the dude showed up looking sharp as shit in his Boston kit. The shirt and the shorts. I was like, damn, Tom, like you earned it. Like get after it, man. That's
I almost have a problem with some of those clothes. It's like I have with that Viore vest that like I can't wear that thing running.
Yeah.
It's just too nice.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this shirt is like, and again, what am I going to do? Wear it to the opera?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a weird item of clothing, like a really fancy running thing. It's like, where am I going to wear this?
Could wear it to Shakespeare in the Park.
Hey.
Maybe I thought maybe the farmer's market.
Oh.
I thought maybe I could
swag up.
do some business there.
Show them all.
I don't know.
Show them all down there.
I don't know where else in Chico I'm going to necessarily, where's the stylish running shirt venue that I need to find.
That's fair.
Incredible discussion.
This is really a lovely evening.
Yeah, dude. Thanks, Neil.
Yeah, Neil, we appreciate you coming in and sharing all the insights. And, I know we've heard a lot of these stories and gotten to know you. And it's about damn time that more people know more about Real Deal Neil, because you've got so much insight on running and clearly on life and how to handle your Cheez-Its and your ice cream. So,
yeah, I feel like I've maybe been a little bit all over the map. So
No.
if you see me in person, feel free to slow me down, and maybe I make more sense at a lower RPM. But yeah, I'm glad you guys had a good time too.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about something. This is sort of my takeaway. If anybody from Fleet Feet is listening, I think Neil would make such a good coach. I think like if for any training program,
totally,
because you're scientific, you see it from a different perspective, from a coaching perspective. And like, I like being out running with you and, little advice that you give me here and there. You stick your hips out, keep your head straight. Like I enjoy that element from you. And I think you do it in a nice way. And I think it would be well received. And you're obviously very passionate about running. It comes across really well. Like, I think the Real Deal Neil would be an epic program coach.
I 100% agree. And, just the friendliness and the interest, sincere interest that you have when you engage with people. Like, it's clear that, when you're talking to us and, several people have said this, like, yeah, when I'm talking to Neil, like, he's like asking questions and listening. And that's not always the case with everybody. You've been in enough conversations, especially with teenagers that you teach, where they're just nodding their head and waiting to say something, as opposed to like really engaging. I think that's where you would also really thrive as a coach, is you just engage so well.
Well, I do often have the feeling that I have something to say, and I'm not too shy about sharing it, but I've never learned anything by saying something. You can only really learn things by listening to people, and again, the listening to respond thing, or listening to understand distinction. It's hard. Because
and humbling,
you want to be the person who like has that thing to say back or whatever, and but again, you don't get ahead that way. What I say to people is like, we're not on the stage performing. We're most of the time you should be like in the gym training. You only do the pose down once a year. You only go to the so like most of the time when you're in a classroom, when you're out running with people, you're in learning mode. Not really in performance mode, or you should be, and that's why I would like to think that I'm out there trying to like gather it all in.
Yeah.
More so than make a vulgar display of my pretentious intellectualism, which I'm fully capable of doing, and I have done some of that as well. I just hope I'm not doing it all the time, and I appreciate people being tolerant if I take it in that direction.
It not only like coaching, but having a space for people to ask questions, keeping a space for, being open to listening, giving people an opportunity to
the equity of voice thing. That's a concept. That's one of these. There are all these little, actually quite worthwhile concepts in education that we learn about at these PD days, and maybe we don't always implement on them as well as we do. Like, we're excited on Friday afternoon, we forgot it over the weekend. We show up for work on Monday morning.
Yep.
But like, equity of voice is important. Hearing from all the different people is a good idea, and I would love to do the coaching gig. I wouldn't mind doing like a beginner thing for running. Like I said, like, why not grab the beginners on the running form piece? I don't need to like start preaching to people how to move their body, which is a little maybe intrusive, but I can make some suggestions about where to go to find out. And I do think that sort of thing adds value. And I think Sean is down for that kind of idea. She's done a few things around like cadence and stuff. I don't know if you recall some of those workouts, if you guys were in the groups where we did that. Over at Monkey Face parking lot was where the site of at night, I think, one time. Anyway, point being, I'd be totally into that, but I would also love to just be like the assistant coach. Like, sometimes I feel like, how like there's like a huge big thing about leadership, and I'm a leader, I do leadership, and that's like a thing that like in education too. Are we educating leaders? Are we leaders in the classroom? But to me, like, I don't necessarily obsess about being a leader. I'm happy to like be adjacent to the leader, but to have like ideas and have thoughts and be a sounding board, be a brainstormer, or be a thought partner. And that for me is like, that's what my personality is best at. I mean, of course, everybody wants to have that heroic impulse to be the leader, to be at the podium, to be the person up on the stage, but I am more than happy to just be the idea person behind the scenes. I think it just suits my talents.
I love it.
Yeah. Again, thank you guys for having me.
Dude, thanks, Neil. That's the real deal, Neil, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. What do you think, Pete?
Well, I don't know. I think there's only one way to end this.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah, there it is.